Powerlifting.
Power.
Powerlifting and my job.
What is your job?
I'm a physiotherapist.
Bad luck.
Ah, what?
Oh, sorry. Did that was that out loud? I had some.
No, honestly, anyone in the health profession, like I suppose it's like you get the opportunity to help people, but that emotional burden can be quite heavy sometimes.
Yeah, so I studied physiotherapy through the 90s.
Oh, sorry,
Um,
my cat is just decided that she wants to be on the
oh,
podcast. Isn't she cute? And you keep
oh
going.
man, I love cats like that. Yeah, so my that was where I started was in physiotherapy. I went from
Yeah.
physiotherapy into literally way out of left field. Started working in prisons as a teacher and administrator, and then got into counselling and chaplaincy and went that way. Never went back to physiotherapy.
Yeah.
But it was
What made
also
you leave physio?
a girl, mostly. Yeah. Um, bloody chicks. What's wrong
I
with?
know.
So I was studying. I had 1 year left. My wife, who was we weren't even dating at the time. She took a job in the northwest, like 16 hours north of Perth, and I decided to go up there for 2 weeks to just see what it was like being in the same town together and whether the relationship would go anywhere. And instead of coming back to Perth and finishing off the degree, I proposed. We got married. We stayed there for 15 years, had 2 kids.
Look, if things are meant to be, they just happen.
All
And
right.
I think that sort of serendipity, like if you can live your life that way and have that happen, that's awesome.
So that's how I've lived my whole life now. We just
Cool.
things come up.
And now you're
Let's run with
here.
it. And now I'm
Were
here.
you in powerlifting before that?
I got into powerlifting around 2007.
Okay, so it,
Yep.
it hasn't sort of set the trajectory into now your sport, really. That was already there.
Um, yeah, rugby and baseball were my sports.
Yeah.
Um, I attribute both of those to being good at bench pressing,
Yeah.
because all that upper body work,
Yeah.
especially throwing, because essentially bench pressing is just a throw anyway. It's rapid. It's rapid humeral flexion, and then lifting people in lineouts like this is just more upper body flexion all the time. And so then rolling over into powerlifting, which scrummaging, being a prop in rugby, which is what I was, is basically doing lots and lots of squats all day, every day,
Yeah.
but just in weird positions with people trying to
Yep.
punch you in the face. So I'm like, oh
That
wow,
sounds
this
fantastic. I can totally see why you did that.
it's a lot of fun. Trust me.
Oh.
Um, Yeah, rugby's weird like that. You can, I'm not sure what it's like now culturally, but back when I was playing, like you could get beaten up by somebody, like literally murdered for 80 minutes. And then after the game, you'd give them a big hug and go, "Oh man, that was great." Remember when you like punched me in the kidneys? That really hurt, but that was a good shot. Well, and you sort of you go back and forth and go, "Yeah, good value." But yeah, that's what I was doing prior to powerlifting. What about you? What did you do before powerlifting?
I was an active kid, but I never really found a sport that I absolutely loved, I guess. Like I played basketball and did gymnastics as a kid and then moved into soccer, played a bit of tennis. And then when I was in my late teens, I ended up developing a condition called chronic compartment syndrome. Not sure if you're aware of it.
Ooh,
Um,
can you explain it?
it sounds super serious, but it's not.
Right.
What
Anytime you
happens
put
is,
chronic on the start of
I
something,
know,
people go, "Ooh, you poor thing,
yeah, and
chronic."
syndrome. Oh.
when I, when I hear syndrome, I think of The Incredibles because there's
Oh, oh yeah.
the villain syndrome.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well, okay. This was not a superpower though.
Yeah.
What actually happened is, I don't know exactly what the pathophysiological mechanism of it is, or whether there actually is one, or if it's just a like genetic thing. But the muscles in the front of my shins from running a lot ended up getting quite big.
Hmm.
But the fascia in that area of my body is quite thick, and it wasn't very adaptable to the increase in mu muscle size. So what happened is every time that I ran and I got increased blood flow to the front of my shins into my sort of anterior compartment, um, the fascia would constrict that muscle, and then so that sort of pinched on the nerves and the blood vessels in that area. So then my feet would start to swell and I'd lose sensation in my feet.
Oh, cool.
So Yeah, I know. And it only would last for like maybe up to half an hour once I ceased activity.
Hmm.
And like when I wasn't active, it wasn't symptomatic at all, but it stopped me from playing team sports. And so then I had to pivot towards something where I could stand on one spot.
Wow. Okay.
And I suppose a part of like the therapy to try and overcome that diagnosis was strength and conditioning.
Hmm.
And this was around the time that I just started studying physio, and I had a few friends who are active in the gym. And you go to university open days, and all of the gyms are like giving half price memberships to all the students. And so you're like, oh, I'm a physio, it's kind of like a rite of passage to get to the gym, and it's cheap. Um, so I did, and then I was training with one of my mates who is an international level kayaker, and
Cool.
I was just jumped in on her program,
Hmm.
and I was lifting the same weights, and I was like, am I okay at this?
Kayaking is such a cool introduction to
Yeah,
powerlifting because kayaking is basically
so
rapid
much
bench,
upper body.
rapid bench pressing over the top of a deadlift.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was at this stage I wasn't bench pressing because she was like bench pressing like way beyond what I was. But I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
yeah, I'll jump
kayakers
in
have
on the
got massive
deadlifts.
benches.
Oh, huge,
Yeah.
huge. But then I was like, hey, I'm actually really good at this. And like, I think it's a very natural thing to want to do more of what you're good at. I think that's a
Right.
very human thing.
Yep.
Um, but when you're very driven and competitive like me, as soon as you can find something that you're like, oh my God, I'm really, I'm really good at this, you really dig deep in it. And it also just happened to be something that was a really good sort of supplement to my study at the time, doing a lot of um, learning about, pathophysiology, biomechanics, strength and conditioning. And so it just really slotted in well to my life at that point, and I just kept getting better and I wanted to get even better. So I just kept looking for resources and trying to work out what I could potentially do to further my strength. And then I realized, hey, this is a sport. Like, this isn't just like me going to the gym. I'm powerlifting, and I didn't even know I was doing it. And then so yeah, I found powerlifting, and now I've been powerlifting for 6 years.
6 years. So take us through the first comp. What was the first comp experience?
Oh, my first competition was really, really fun. And I honestly think that that competition really set me up on the trajectory that I've ended up on. Purely because I really, like, it was just such a good experience for me. I had my first competition at Avia in Coburg, um,
Right.
which is funny 'cause it's coming full circle now because I've got a competition again there in like 6 weeks,
Nice.
um, which is cool. Um, and I think I got there and I just had so much support from people in the crowd that I didn't even know. And I don't know. I can't tell you why in that moment I sort of fell in love with it. Again, I think it's because like if you have a good experience, I suppose. But like I was like, I love this at that competition. It was like, yeah, it really made it for me.
So I want to know what was the tipping point to actually get you to do the competition like that. I always find that really interesting when people go, yeah, I'm going to pay a whole lot of money so people overdressed for the occasion can tell me if I'm good at something.
Exceptionally overdressed.
That's my favorite part about refereeing is it's the only time I wear a tie and blazer ever in my life.
I had to referee this weekend I didn't have to, I chose to because I love refereeing. But I refereed at the team championships at the
Oh
Strength
yeah,
Fortress. And
JP's
like
one.
I didn't bring a blazer. And like I know in the rule book
Like
somewhere it says
winter
something about
uniform,
like
winter
I know, and
uniform.
I haven't refereed in winter. And I was like, oh my God, if I don't have a blazer. And I'm like freaking out. I ended up spending like $150 on a blazer just like around the corner from Maidstone so that I could referee. Anyway, that's like a little side plot there. Um, what was the question again? Why did I want to compete?
Oh
What's
yeah,
going to tip
like
me over the edge?
what was the tipping point to get you go? Yeah, I'm gonna sign up. I really should do a comp.
I just don't think that there was anything that was ever going to stop me from doing a competition. I
Right.
think Like I was never like, oh, I'm gonna do a competition when I'm good enough, or oh, I'm really nervous about performing in front of people. You're talking to somebody who came from musical theatre before powerlifting. Um, and so for me to like, and I've always considered powerlifting as like my craft. I think for me to like rehearse something and refine something, and then showcase that for somebody or an audience was something that I'd already been doing. So it kind of felt very natural for me.
Almost like it was replacing something that you weren't doing anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, let's come back to that because I've got heaps to say about that and lots of questions for you. Uh, so it sounds like what you're saying is that like once you said I'm doing powerlifting, you saw doing powerlifting competitions were just part of powerlifting. It wasn't like a separate thing. It
No.
was this is what we do. It's like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, yep. I knew what I was signing up for. I was like, this is what I want to do. As soon as I got a coach and I was like, I'm a power lifter, I went straight out. I bought my SBD belt. I didn't wait until I worked out whether I liked it or not. I knew already.
I'm in. I'm doing this.
I am in.
Oh wow. Okay. So interestingly, you said as soon as you got a coach, you said I'm a powerlifter. I have a coach.
Yeah, I don't know why that kind of made me feel like I was qualified to call myself a powerlifter. Honestly, I think it's because maybe like prior to getting a coach, I wasn't actually bench pressing. I was just lifting, and I think once I could tie those three lifts together, there was nothing that made me ashamed of calling myself a powerlifter. For a
Do you think?
while, there was a lot that made me feel a bit weird about calling myself an athlete.
Hmm.
But yeah, powerlifter was something that I just adorned like straight away.
Do you think it's like golf that as soon as we spend over $100 on equipment or silly clothing, you go, yep, I'm one of those now.
Yeah, yeah. I've bought the tickets to this
Yep,
club.
I'm
Yeah.
in. I've got the
I've got the
uniform.
jacket.
Yeah, quite literally. There you go.
Yeah, like quite literally.
Every at at what point did you look through your wardrobe? This is normally a 6, 12, maybe a couple of years down the track, and realize that everything in your wardrobe now had a powerlifting emblem on there somewhere.
I would say 75% of my wardrobe is powerlifting attire. Like, and I don't really wear casual clothes all that often. Um, I'm either at work or I'm in the gym or I'm out somewhere in public wearing active wear. So it's not all that much of a problem, but yeah, nearly my whole wardrobe is powerlifting gear now.
My last competition was 2016, and still three-quarters of my wardrobe is powerlifting gear.
Is that because you're returning to the platform on like the 10-year anniversary of you starting?
Maybe
Is
two.
that what I heard you say?
The 20 years later, I'll come back for one. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
no, it's like everything's either it's either plain black or it's powerlifting. It's like it's a and whether that's a friend's gym, a friend's brand, or some Titan gear. Because
Yep.
I've still never worn SBD, and
See,
now
that's
it's
all I wear now.
just won't put SBD on. Team
Why?
because I'm Team Titan for life.
Oh, I
Right
see. I
there,
see now.
there,
Oh, yep,
there it
yep.
is.
I feel like we've now got, is that a rivalry that we have now?
No, not yet, but we'll create
Not
one.
yet.
We'll artificially create one
Yeah,
by
yeah,
the
yeah,
end of this
because us
podcast.
powerlifters, we need that. We need that. We need ops.
So this is fun. A precursor to tomorrow's podcast. I've got Jonah Leo, who's like 5-time world bench press champion from the US.
Yeah.
Um, we met up in Austin last year, and we were going over to the venue. We met up at the hotel. We're going over to the venue, and I'd been there for a few days already. And as we're driving, Jonah looks at me and goes, "So who am I going to hate?" I go, "What? What are you talking about?" He goes, I'm going to get there. I'm going to need to find somebody to hate. If I'm going to
I
make a
need to
comeback,
manufacture
I
this.
I need to hate somebody. Who are we going to hate? I'm like, I don't know. I like these guys, so maybe I'm not ready for a comeback. But yeah, I get that. I get that. Oh, there's so much that I want to ask you, but we'll rewind it back to the musical theatre because that really interests me.
Oh God.
I so last week we had Kate to the bar on. She's right into music and musical theatre. I've
Yeah,
had
I can see that from her. I 100%.
um so I've had two of my friends from the US on. They're both singers, both right into musical theatre. Jessica was a coach in New York, worked with Broadway performers, wanted to be on Broadway herself, the whole works. And then I'm trying to get this other lady on the podcast because she followed me the other day, and I clicked on her profile, just going, oh, who's this following me? And I looked, and she's like into music and vocals. She's a teacher of music, and she's into powerlifting. I'm like, oh man, that's the coolest combination. So I reached out and we chatted for a while. So I'm trying to get her on as well. So I think it's a theme. For some reason, I really like music theater. I like performers. I think powerlifting is a performance. It's not a sport so much as it is
I'm
as
very
a
much of the
presentation.
same.
Um,
Yeah.
so tell me, what age did you start doing musical theater, and what's some of the stuff you're into?
I was in musical theatre like all throughout primary school and high school. The first major role that I had, I was 11 years old and I was really small and I had a really high-pitched voice, but I played Merlin the Wizard. And then once I was in high school, in year 7 or 8, we did Little Shop of Horrors. Are you familiar?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, for those who are listening who aren't familiar, it's about this botanist who buys a plant. It becomes a human-eating plant, and the botanist has to continue to feed it because this plant has brought him wealth and fame, and he's a meek young boy who's never had this kind of attention before, and he's sort of grappling with the idea of um, what his ethics and morals are. This plant is huge, and in the movie, if you've seen the movie, it has this really, really big, funky, deep voice. And again, I was like 13 or 14 at the time, and not much older than I was when I played Merlin, and somehow I got the role of the plant.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
I know. And then a few years later, when I was like maybe 16 or 17, um, at this stage, these musicals I had been in were school musicals. I
Hmm.
was one of the um, yeah, I was the plant in that musical, and then we did Little Shop of Horrors later in high school as well, and I was a Ronette that time. But then I extended myself into like the local theatre community. Um, and I think for me, like musical theatre was a way that really like I could challenge my confidence. And in the past, I'd always been given these roles where I could really hide behind like I just had to sit inside the plant when I was the plant in Little Shop of Horrors with a microphone. No one had to see me.
Right.
Um, but all of a sudden, I was in Hairspray with a local theatre company, and I played Penny Pingleton. So I was like the comic relief role in the entire musical, and all of a sudden I had to be out on the stage, and I had to try and be funny, and it was just it was a huge thing for me. And I think that's when I really came out of my shell because I was always a really quiet kid. Um, and then what did I do after that? And then after that, I did Grease, and I
Hmm.
was one of the Pink Ladies.
Right.
And then at that point, I just started my career as a physio, and I was powerlifting, and I was doing musical theatre. And at one point, it was like you were training for powerlifting 4 nights a week, you were working 42 hours a week, and you had a show on Thursday, Friday, and then two on Saturday. I have no idea how I was doing it all.
Wow.
But then I was like, I need to pick one.
Hmm.
Um, and I picked powerlifting.
Wow. That's very cool. I would have just worked less. Yeah.
See, if I
I
had
just
the
would have gone,
option.
just go part time, just live your hobbies.
I'm like, how can I, in the next year to 2 years, decrease how many hours I'm working so I can lift more weights?
um, yeah, I think most people just become powerlifting coaches at that point. That's when they go, oh,
Yeah, see, look,
I'm an online
yeah, I'm an
coach.
online coach. It's funny because I've started doing that. Um, maybe as a ploy to work less clinical hours, but also just because I'm trying to find as many ways as I possibly can to just inject myself into this sport. Um, because I just didn't think that I could ever love doing something this much, and I just absolutely love it.
What do you think it is?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Hmm.
I have no idea. Do you have
Well,
an idea?
oh, I have so many ideas. This is where I go. I think there's probably a few elements. We'll pick up that post that you made yesterday on Instagram. You're talking about art and science and stuff like that. The whole movement piece. I think that's a really critical piece of what we're doing, because we're not doing output so much as we're demonstrating what's already been built. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
so
A
we're
lot
not,
of our sport is
yeah,
spent in isolation where they're refining and spending so much time attuning ourselves to our inner world and what we feel and what we believe we can do and challenging that. Like it's such a
absolutely. I think,
psychological sport more
yep,
so than like it is a very physical sport, but like let's be real, like it's exceptionally simplistic. Like
it's not hard.
there's three movements and you're really just dealing with like a small handful of fitness principles,
Yep,
mainly just being strength. Like it's really easy. So I think that's really, I think our sport becomes so much more interesting when you look to like inwards.
correct. You look where you find where the depth is,
Yeah.
and so I think what you're stumbling upon there is the key difference is where most people go two different directions. So the people that remain externally validated, externally motivated, get the external rewards, they never develop that insight and that self-reflection skill. And so, from what I've noticed over the years, they're the people that, even if they're good, they don't really stick around because they don't have that passion for the sport. They never quite caught on to what it was. Um,
Yep.
it sounds like you sound like one of these people that in 20 years' time, we're going to be continuing this conversation, right?
Yeah,
That,
yeah. And
like,
I'll
you,
just have like my hair will be maybe a little bit more grey, but I'll still have this haircut.
right?
And I'll still be
I'm
powerlifting.
still trying to work out how to bench more. Like, I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
I'll get it one day. Have you ever done that? No, but I will. I've got time.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so I think what when we go in, if we stay outward, that external locus of control is a massive flow blocker. It's
Yep.
really hard to get into flow when you're when everything's outside of you. When you
Yep. And
take
I've
that,
definitely felt that before.
right,
Yep.
and that's just and the opposite of flow is poor performance. It's just pain, right?
Yeah.
Because so if flow is that high performance state that we feel our best and we perform at our best, the opposite, like diametrically opposed to that, is when we feel our worst and we perform badly. You're
Yep.
going, oh yeah, I've been there. That's when I've tried too hard, or I've been externally motivated, or I've focused on all the outsides. But when you have that internal locus of control, flow becomes much, much easier to get into because you have that
Yep.
autonomy, you've got the sense of control, you've got all of those really rich flow triggers around autonomy. And so then you can start learning about yourself. And I think that's the exciting part about powerlifting, because then you're always learning. It becomes a lifelong thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Although I feel like for me, I feel like I was learning a lot up to the point that this then became a like very intrinsic process for me. And
Yep.
so I think it's not so much about like not learning and learning and like separating them. But I think there is a level of learning that needs to be done before you can actually reach that sort of like actualized
Yeah.
state of who you are as an athlete and
Yeah.
what the
You need all
sport
the
can actually do for you.
pieces in the puzzle box before you can put the
Yeah,
puzzle together.
yeah. And it took me years to get all the pieces of the puzzles.
Oh yeah, and you're going to be
Yeah.
collecting them for another 30, 40 years
Yeah.
as well. And
Yeah.
the puzzle changes, and the puzzle is
Yep.
is in 4 dimensions, unfortunately. Well, no,
Yep.
fortunately, because then it always gives us something to come back to.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's always that growth opportunity. You're never going to stagnate so long as you keep sort of persisting.
Yep. Yeah, I tell people all the time about this Henry Rollins essay from I want to say it's 1992, somewhere around there. That's when I was getting into lifting, and he talks about how the bar is his like anchor point, because if you put 200 kilos on a bar, it's always 200 kilos. And what changes is how you feel that day. It's not whether the
Yeah,
bar moves
absolutely.
fast or what, and which is that phrase that I hear everyone using at the moment, and it just kind of grates on me. They go, "Oh, the bar moved like this." I go, "The bar didn't move.
No, no,
You
no.
moved,
You moved like that.
right? That was you doing that. That wasn't the bar. The bar doesn't care. The bar doesn't give a shit. The bar is an inanimate object." Um, yeah, so I get a bit ranty there, but I think I get ranty about it because with that mindset, you can never get to that deep state that you've
Because you're
obviously got
always
to a lot
blaming something external to you.
because it's
Yeah.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that
Although
deep
I
state,
feel
I
like
think,
you
is where it's
can
at.
go, I think you can go too far down the air, like the path of like, okay, well, everything around me is the same, and therefore I must be the problem,
Oh
as
no,
opposed to, yeah.
everything around me is also changing, right?
Yes.
So that what is that whole nobody stands in the same river twice because the river's different and you're different as well.
Yeah.
Um, but the bar stays the same. The bar is the
The bar
same.
does. The bar
That bit
sinks to the
doesn't
bottom of the
change,
riverbed.
right?
It's
It's all yeah,
there.
uh, yeah. Interesting. Do you train by yourself or in a group?
A little bit of both. I think maybe recently I've sort of stepped back from treating the gym as like a social environment and more treated it as like a retreat for me.
Yeah, yeah. I get
Yeah,
that.
and I think that's changed a lot, very, very acutely for me in just yeah how I'm treating the sport
Hmm.
as more of like a blessing and an opportunity for me rather than something that is weighing me down and something that is trying to defeat me and something that is, like the sword and the stone. It's challenging me and I have to rise to that challenge. It's like, no, it's I used to look at it like that, as a way of like validating who I was and what I was worth and having to overcome what was there in front of me. And now I just see it as an opportunity. It's a playground for me now.
Ah, it's a playground. Okay. So what
Yeah,
game are you playing?
I don't know, what's a really tranquil game with some really nice like music in the background that's like POV.
What are you when
I
you're
have
training
no
by you
idea.
when you're training by
Uh,
yourself? What are you listening to?
I am always listening to I love lyrics.
Hmm.
I'm a huge lyrics person. I love stories. I really love um I love listening to music from women my age. I'm trying to like put like
Huh.
a sort of genre on what I listen to, but really I just love listening to other women tell their stories and being able to assimilate with those stories. So like
Oh, that's cool.
I'm mostly listening to girly pop whilst I'm under the bar.
That is
Oh.
very cool. That's cool. I used to listen to nothing. I trained by myself in my or on my back patio or in my garage, and I
Yep,
listened
just
to
listening to
nothing at all.
yourself just like
Yeah, just listening to the thoughts inside my head. Yeah. And I loved it.
See, I
I
feel
found
like I
that.
do that too often, too much. I've had to really switch my brain off when I'm training.
Oh, I switch it back on. See, I'm the opposite.
Oh
This
man.
this
See,
is
no, my time to switch my brain on is in the shower. When I'm at the gym, switch that off.
see the shower afterwards is where all the really creative ideas come from. But
Yep.
yeah, I like listening to the. This was what came out of that podcast with Rachel when she talked about the unhinged thoughts.
Yes.
I said the unhinged thoughts are my favorite ones. They're the ones that I like to spend time with. Um, and same in training, like those weird fears and oh, this weight's going to kill you. You're gonna snap your knee in the hole and you're gonna die. And because you train by yourself, no one's gonna find you. People are going to come home 6 hours later and you're going to be lying dead in a pool of your own blood from squatting. I'm like,
And
oh.
you're just sitting there with that, and you're like, that's a nice thought.
And so, what I would do was, at that point, I would take the safety rails out of my power rack. So there's no safety,
You're like,
no
Jesus, take
bailout.
the wheel.
And I'm like, I was going, all right. So do I have this? Yes or no? Like, how much? What do I think? And so I'd have to go through a process. I'm going, okay, I'm really scared. What's the reality of this situation? What is the worst that can happen? Where am I? And so we'd work through that situation. And so that way, really, really massive, big weights just never scared me because,
I'm so jealous.
but sometimes that, you can do that on triples at 80%, which would be what, like a triple at 8. Just
Yep.
do it without the spotters. Like, tell yourself, like, ask yourself, do you have this? Yes or no? Because if you
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
if you think you need the spotters, it's like, you don't have it then.
Yeah, that's fair. For me, it's never been squats. Like I'm always happy with squats. For me, it's deadlifts. Like I think it's the fact like it's the first movement where you don't have like that controlled descent where you realize halfway through, oh my God, this is heavy. Because at that stage you've got to push it up. Like you're already underneath
You've
it.
had a little bit of a run up at it. Come on, keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah, exactly. Like, you get that with squats and you get that with bench, whereas deadlifts, it's like it's hard straight away. And I think it's just so easy to quit before you even start trying on deadlifts. And I think for me, like particularly because I've injured myself deadlifting before, um, that fear is something that I've been trying to overcome for years, and I'd say that I've probably only just overcome it in the last few months.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
what was the injury?
I did a disc injury in my back when I sort of only just started. I got really strong really quick on deadlifts,
Mm-hmm.
actually. Um, and then it really took a toll on me because I think like this was 2019 or like maybe at the start of 2020. And like I think before I started like calling myself a powerlifter and getting my coach, I think I'd already pulled like 110.
Right.
Um, so I was like, oh, I'm okay,
And
like,
body weight was
maybe like 63.
right.
And then all of a sudden I was like pulling 150 for three, like within the first 4 months of powerlifting. I was
Oh
like,
wow.
oh, this is awesome.
I must be the
Um,
greatest ever at this. I'm
I'm the
invincible.
greatest ever. Yeah. And look how much attention I'm getting and look how cool everyone thinks I am. And then I just didn't quite understand, I don't think, what I was really pushing myself to do, or maybe I did understand it. I was like, oh, well, I'm exempt to those rules. And I think I just pushed myself way too hard, way too because
Oh.
I was pushing and pushing and pushing, and my back was sore. And I was like, no, but I've just got to keep pushing because, my coach is really impressed with me, and maybe I'll be good at this. And one day I just pushed a little bit too hard and just felt that big pop in my back. And then a few days later, started to get numbness in my groin and down the back of my leg, and I was scared as. And it took me a really long time to recover, and then after that, ended up with fairly persistent low back pain for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as to why, I think I was too scared to acknowledge that there could be something holding me back from what I wanted to achieve, and so I just kind of put it on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was just something that was like always looming on me as something that was gonna be too scary to confront, but also something that was worth confronting. But yeah, it was really the psychology of it was really interesting. Like I'm a physio, I could have really easily addressed this issue, but I just didn't for a really long time. And yeah, so I think for me, like, and that was deadlifting. And so I've always had this fear of really heavy weights on deadlifts.
Mm-hmm.
And That's been the biggest challenge for me as a powerlifter and trying to get my deadlift to progress because whenever I am at that precipice of pushing beyond what I can currently do, fear shuts me down.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, fear is the biggest shutdown of anything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I've just probably I've recently overcome that in the last few months. Strangely enough, after doing an absolutely crazy injury to myself deadlifting
Oh,
again.
is that the quad injury?
Yeah, well and the really bitter thing about this, like the really it's so ironic. The reason I actually hurt myself this time round was because I was so fearful of hurting myself whilst lifting. I know, I was like,
how many times have you heard a story like that in practice now?
oh, I feel like it does become a self-fulfilling prophecy
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's weird,
Yeah,
isn't it? I'm
yeah.
so
And
worried
honestly,
about
I
hurting
think,
myself that you just hurt yourself a more creative way.
yeah, that's what happened to me this time. Um, but I was a week out from nationals and I was really tired. And usually at some point in my preps, that old back injury kind of does get a little bit irritated. Um, and I have to sort of work around it. And, because I hadn't addressed it for a really long time, I kind of just got used to that being the thing that happened to me.
Hmm.
And I almost like treated it as if it was a rite of passage. It's like, this has been a good prep because you've hurt yourself again. Um, but I did get on top of that injury like maybe a year ago or no, now.
Hmm.
And I have had a few preps where there has been a little bit of an issue, but not much. And this was the first time I was ever prepping for a competition where I had no back pain. I was like, what's going on? Like, this isn't right. Like, this isn't my story. This never happens to me.
Hmm.
And I was thinking, well, it hasn't happened yet. It's going to happen now. Like, you're a week out. You haven't hurt yourself. Every time you've gotten away with just making it through, this time is going to be the time where you hurt yourself and you're not going to make it through. And like, I couldn't even get easy weight off the ground because I was just so scared. Um, and so I just tried to like really tap into a part of me that I haven't really like I'm not an angry lifter at all.
Hmm.
Um, I sometimes get a bit sad, but I'm definitely not angry. Um, but I really got angry at myself,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I just grabbed the bar and yanked it off the ground, and it just flew. And I think just in that frustration, I was like, oh my God, maybe I need to tap into this more. And I just like thrusted the bar back towards the ground, like, I can do this. But unfortunately, in thrusting it back towards the ground, my leg got caught underneath the bar, and the bar pretty much grabbed onto my skin and just yanked it.
Yep.
So, and I did a degloving injury. So I did a closed degloving of my thigh. I ripped my skin off my body and severed all of the nerve endings to the skin in my thigh and all the lymphatic vessels and all the blood vessels and oh my God, the amount of pain.
What was how would you describe it to someone? Like especially the swelling, because the swelling is special with that.
The word that they actually use medically is fluctuant. So
Ooh,
if I, yeah, I know,
fluctuant.
fluctuant. Um, if you imagine like a balloon full of water or like a 1970s waterbed where you tap it and it just like fluctuates and
It's
sort of
so gross.
ripples.
It's so
I
gross.
know, I know.
Oh,
That's what I had underneath my skin.
what does that feel like?
I can't tell you because there's nothing that I can relate it to that would make sense.
Right. Okay.
Like it's such an odd feeling to feel water underneath your skin
Yeah,
and to
I
feel
can't imagine at all.
no, like I remember like sitting in the car turning around a corner and you could kind of feel the fluid move across your thigh.
No.
Yeah, yeah, and like early on when I'd injured myself, like this is a really rare injury, right? So I initially was in so much pain and I could not move my leg and it was just burning. I thought like I've either like ruptured my quad tendon or I've fractured my patella. Like those are the two things that I feel that I have done right now. And I went to ED and they did a scan on my leg. And now, in hindsight, and with the knowledge that I have about this injury, like the scan that I had was diagnostic, but no one really knew much about these injuries. And so I just got cleared.
Hmm.
Like, oh, you haven't, like, there's no musculoskeletal damage at all. You should be fine by the end of the week. If you need a TUE for opioids, just let us know and we'll sign you one. Off you go.
Wow. Okay.
And then so I ended up in Perth, and it was probably like 4 or 5 days after the injury that that amount of fluid started to come underneath the skin.
Hmm.
Um, and that's kind of when I realized, like, I've never, like, I'm a physio. You don't see a lot of those really acute stuff anyway. They go to ED, but like, I know enough to know that this is not just like an intramuscular hematoma, or this isn't just a contusion. Like, there is something wrong here.
Yep.
Um, and I was in so much pain. I just remember we were staying, oh, what's that hotel on the water where we had the competition?
Oh,
The
the
Rendezvous.
Rendezvous Observation City.
Oh my God. I was like, we were staying there and I couldn't bend my knee, but I couldn't completely straighten it either. And it was sort of like crooked up at like 30 degrees. So I had to have pillows underneath my leg and
Oh.
sleep on my back. And anything that touched my leg just felt like, because of the hypersensitivity of the nerve damage, I just
Hmm.
could not have anything on my leg and I couldn't move. And I was just stuck on my back with like silent tears like rolling down my face. And right next door to the Rendezvous, they decide that they're going to have like a punk band playing on that like Friday, Saturday night.
Oh, so you were over the side of the hotel where you've got the Lookout nightclub.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
had a punk night.
Awesome. Just great.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like in so much pain. But yeah, I think I worked out then that I'd done something really unique. And I kind of diagnosed myself at that stage. Um,
I
to
think
then go back
that
to
that's how we met because you were
yeah, it was.
there was limited seating downstairs in the lobby, and it was that is that your boyfriend or husband or
Yeah,
partner?
yeah, that's my boyfriend, that's Bo.
And you're not quiet. Uh, your voice carries. Um,
I know it's unfortunate.
and
Such
I
a
could
laugh.
I was just having a rest in between weigh in and refereeing. It was on the Sunday. It was the super session, which we'll get to. Um, and yeah, you were going through your rationale for certain stuff, and you said a degloving, and I looked up because I've gone, oh holy shit, yeah, you could do that. Like you're definitely strong enough, and I think that's what I said. I interjected and I said, I think you're strong enough to be able to do that injury, but
What
not
a
meant.
flex.
And I was like going, wow, that's kind of cool that you could do that to yourself.
It is very cool. Like, I'm so interested in it. It just is so unfortunate. And like, I'm not calling it unfortunate now that I'm on the other side of it. But at the time, like, it just felt like such an unfortunate thing to be able to do to yourself
Right? Yeah.
by being so strong. Um, but yeah, it took after I met you that day, it took another 2 weeks to get somebody to actually believe what I'd done. Um, and to actually agree with me on what I'd done. Like I went back to the emergency department numerous times and like I have degloved my leg. Like these are my symptoms.
Hmm.
Like I've got dense paresthesia. I cannot feel my skin on my thigh. There is this ridiculous amount of fluid underneath my skin. I cannot bend my leg. Here's the video of
Yeah.
me degloving my thigh. You can see the skin.
Watch me do
Yeah,
this.
watch
I do
it
it in
just like
slow mo.
flick down. I did actually slow-mo and you can see it sort of like whiplash. It's disgusting.
Ah.
Um, yeah. And everyone was like, I've never heard of that. That is not a thing. Just go home.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But I ended up under the care of a plastics team eventually. And I had it drained a few times and just had to have my leg very, very compressed. Um, for like the better part of pretty much 10 to 12 weeks
Hmm.
to the point that like I had to be careful and monitor how much like pitting edema I had around my ankle, because if I like cut off the circulation around my knee too much, my ankle would swell off. So the and you couldn't move it too much, because if you cause too much sliding of the muscle and the skin, then the fascia doesn't re-adhere.
Yep.
So it was just such a weird injury to try and overcome, because like I said, musculoskeletally, like my quadriceps were fine, my patellar tendon was fine, my quads tendon was fine, my bones were fine.
Yep. Because all those bits are super, super strong because you work out, you eat right, you look after yourself.
Yep. My skin is my weakest point.
Yeah, not even the skin, but like the attachments
Yeah.
between skin and other tissue.
Yep. And I
Um,
just the fact
wow.
that bar could grab, like, you have to have purchase on skin to then rip it away.
Yeah.
Um and so like the most common degloving injuries are like around hands with like rings on fingers, or like scalping,
Yep.
where you've got all the hair. So the fact that like this bar had enough of a grip on my skin to then rupture the connective tissue, like that's wild to me.
Yeah. Yeah. How much did you have on the bar? Just out of curiosity.
I only had 160. It was only 160. So I was just warming up still. So I imagine, like, I don't know if it could have been worse. If I don't think I could have got the bar to move at that speed had it been heavy. I don't know. Although it was on the way down, so maybe it could have been worse if it was like closer to 200 kilos. Um, so yeah.
I don't know. Look at you can reframe that one. You don't even need max weight on the bar to cause an injury like that.
I know. That's just because
Like
I'm
that's how
so strong.
I'm so cool. Look at me go.
But it felt to me like I had just ended everything that I'd worked for 6 years.
Right.
And I was so devastated, and this was like a really pivotal point for me, because like I'd gotten to the point where I'd put so much pressure on myself, and I'd been so disappointed in myself that I let it make me furious at myself, um, in a way that I've never been furious at myself before. Like I'm always hard on myself, but it got to a breaking point. Um, and it just weirdly aligned that that breaking point was when I then did this injury, and I sort of set myself on a different trajectory, because yeah, like I said, like I've only just gotten to the point now where I've learned so much about like why I do what I do and what's important to
Hmm.
me, and why this sport, um, what this sport brings to my life, that I've sort of gotten to the point where I don't think I'll ever feel any frustration or disappointment, um, towards myself ever again after that.
Well, that's kind of big. Let's talk
Yeah, it's
about that some more.
huge.
That,
It's really,
that's
I
a
just dropped that on you. I'm sorry.
that was one of those that was one of those ones we talk I talk about this with my youngest daughter all the time. She's really good at it in exams. She'll be writing like something creative for English, and then she'll see, yeah, like I've got 3 minutes to land this plane now, and it'll be a very complex story. She's developed a few characters, and then it's like, I just had to end the story with dad, and then this bad thing happened, and the mum woke up from a dream. Is like the primary school ending. She goes, I had to do the primary school ending. I felt like you gave me a
No.
primary school ending on that one. I just went through all these major life events, and then it's sort of all good.
And then I woke up.
And then I woke up, and here we are. Yeah, drank my coffee.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm really interested in the frustration piece, that because
Yep.
that seems to come up a lot. This idea of almost battling yourself and trying to overcome yourself, and then becoming frustrated, or whatever the word. Different people use different words, so we could probably replace angry, or
Yeah.
defeated, or depressed, or whatever in there, but some kind of attacking kind of emotion towards yourself.
Yep. I think, like you say, it's such a common thing, but when you're in it, it feels very lonely, and it feels like you're the only, like, not in like a really narcissistic, egotistical way, but in like a very um sad way, almost, that you were
Yep.
just so alone in that, and that no one, Not that no one understands me, but like that if anyone knew that I was feeling this, they would be confused by it, or they would think that I'm strange
Mm.
or that I'm too much. Um, yeah. Uh, where do I go from there? It's just I don't know. It's such a deeply personal thing for me, powerlifting, and like yeah, I what was the question?
The the source of the frustration. I'm gonna
Um,
throw a couple of things out for you too,
yeah,
and see how they land. I think that frustration or the resentment of self or the beating yourself up is when we have these goals. We think then we think that's why we're doing stuff, but we're slightly disconnected from our purpose. And so the
yes,
sadness is that disconnect, and we're not sure what we've disconnected from, but we've disconnected from something really, really important, and we can spend a lot of time getting angry at all the wrong sources.
yep,
But
yep, definitely,
the disconnection is always internal. It's
yes,
there's some value, some key value that you're not hitting or that you're
yep.
compromising.
I think that's why it's so confusing at the time because you don't know what that thing is that you're
Mm,
actually looking for. It's
right.
like, yeah, it's really confusing, and instead of trying to like lean into that confusion, you kind of feel embarrassed by it.
Embarrassed. Okay.
Yeah.
What was
Um,
the story you were telling yourself there?
I don't know, maybe like again, it's just having those big emotions and not having words to explain those emotions. Like, I'm somebody who loves to intellectualize things and understand everything. And I feel like I've got a pretty good gauge on myself, and to not know why I'm feeling certain things and to not have the knowledge that I want to have
Hmm.
is something that really attacks my sense of self.
Oh, okay. That's I I
Like
can I can relate to
yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe I don't know if that comes down to like always wanting to be in control and always wanting and needing to have the answers.
Hmm.
Um, but for me, when I don't have answers and I can't understand something, and I can't change something to push whatever it is that I'm trying to manipulate towards my desired outcome, that causes me a lot of, um, it makes me very unsettled.
So, what did you find out about yourself through working through that frustration? What did you find out was important in powerlifting for you?
I think for me, I was kind of trying to find my purpose in the external environment
Hmm.
and having to be able to do certain things so that I could find my place, so that I could have a purpose amongst others and therefore matter.
Hmm. Wow.
Um, yeah, and then I think what I've realized is like no matter what I do, one day, even if I mattered heaps, one day I won't matter at all. And so, like, why am I spending so much energy trying to make myself seen and be a certain thing and achieve certain things and live up to, not that anyone has expectations of me, but like, yeah, because it's never been about like expectations set by others. It's been expectations set by me so that I can. It's very hard to explain. Oh my God. See, and now I'm getting frustrated because I can't understand it. Yeah, I think it's just like in some ways it's like existentialism in a way, I suppose. Like if life kind of means nothing and I don't do anything with my life and I can't change anything in this continuum of life, and that one day if I'm gone, nothing really will change. Like that to me kind of felt purposeless. And
Yeah.
I don't know why I was like, okay, so the way that I'm going to overcome that fear is by lifting heavy weights, because that makes sense.
So I've got a I'm noticing that I'm experiencing all
Oh,
this existential dread about my place in the universe and the cosmos and
yes.
the timeline of humanity. Yeah, I should deadlift more.
I should
Definitely.
deadlift
It's
more.
like,
Yeah.
but
Yup.
I think that's a beautiful response because at some point somebody else through history would have gone, I don't get this. Like we live, we die, the sun comes up, it goes down. It just seems to go round and round and round. Yeah, I'm gonna paint. I'm gonna do beautiful art, or I'm gonna make
Honestly,
great
a lot of people
poetry.
do turn to art, don't they?
Yeah,
Um,
and so I think that's what we were talking about last night. That seeing movement is art, and so what we do
yeah.
as powerlifters, um, while it's not quite Banksy, it's art. I think what I do is artful and done with an
Yeah.
artist's mind. So if it's done with an artist's mind, then it's art.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. I think it is. And like for me, I see it as art because we create so that we can share and so that we can be seen, so we can feel less lonely. I think that for me is what it was. It was like if I can be good at this sport and I can be seen and be understood and be valued, that maybe that would bring my life meaning. Not that I wanted to be worshipped or that I wanted to be the best and, have all these accolades and think that
Hmm.
I'm an absolute champion. It was more like maybe this is something that can help me relate to people in a deeper way than what I'm currently able to right now.
Yep.
Maybe.
So on that performance or the achievement aspect, what level of achievement do you think? And this is going back to the way you used to think. Um, what level of achievement? What would you have needed for people to see your value, you fit in, all those sort of things, all of those purposes, all of those goals?
Honestly, I think that it would have kept getting worse the more that I achieved. Like, I don't think I would have got to the summit of that and be like, yeah, I'm happy. I
Yeah.
think it would have been like the more that, and I think that's why I did get to sort of this precipice of like, you've won a national championship now twice. You've now won the SBD Australia Cup. Like, you need to keep going. Like, you
Or else
know,
they'll stop loving me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And again, it's not that they'll stop worshipping me or that they'll stop thinking that I'm superior or, that I just it's the people will just stop including me. People will just not see the value that I have to bring to
Mm,
their lives. It's a very like human need for connection.
yeah.
Um, and I think a lot of the time we're told to not care about what other people think and pave your own path and it's sort of pushed towards this really hyper individualism. And I just think that that's really sad because humans are, we love to connect with each other and we're social and a strong sense of belonging to our communities is so important to us. And I definitely think that in, you know, current times post COVID where and the age of sort of social media and technology, like we're losing a lot of our connection. Um, so yeah, for me, connection is a really, really big thing, and I just wanted to be seen in a way that made me feel loved.
That's all anybody wants, isn't it? Really, when
Yeah,
you get
I
down
think
to it.
so. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. I think I want to sort of rewind a little bit because you make like 7 really great points in a row. And I've gone, oh, I need to get back to one of them. I want to go back to that because
And
that
I'm
was
like,
really
yep, yep,
cool.
yep, yep, yep,
And it's like, it's
yep.
great. It's so good for a podcasting format because now people can rewind. Go, well, hang on. She said 3 good things in a row again. I'll just go back 30 seconds to listen to the first one, and then we'll go through. We'll put timestamps one day. Um, your words were that you think it would have got worse the more achievements you had.
Yep.
What do you think would have happened, or what have you seen happen with other people?
I think it's that whole like, is it Icarus who flew too close to the sun? Like, is that the story that I'm thinking of?
Yeah, it's because his dad used bad wax. That's all. The real
I
lesson there
think,
is use quality wax on your wings,
oh yes.
and then you'll be fine.
I think it's that story that I'm thinking of in the whole idea that like or like the concept of having further to fall it's scarier.
Yeah, okay.
Um, and I think if you sort of utilize that mentality of like if you use that as your fuel to keep pushing, maybe if I keep achieving, people will love me. but if I don't keep pushing, then people are going to stop loving me, and people, I've got so much love to lose, or like, I don't know, I've gotten used to this level of being seen that if I completely disappear, it would just break me, or I don't know. I
Possibly.
think you
Yeah.
see, I think you see a lot of really, really great athletes get to the point that they are winning these amazing championships, and it's still not enough,
Yeah. Yep.
you know? Or they're like, I've won this championship, but don't worry, I'll be back better next year. It gets to the point where like you're so dependent on that you can't see that you've made it.
Yep. It's all those externals again.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Think about the. I'm not sure. Hopefully, it's changing. There was a time that the typical Monday morning powerlifting post. So I used to call it ELE. Uh, it's ELE day on a Monday after a powerlifting comp because everybody loves everybody and everybody's so thankful for everyone. And so you thank all your coaches, and your friends, and your family. And so everyone loves everyone for one day. And then we go back to being mean to each other on the internet on Tuesday. But people would write, I did this, 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 and this. But I didn't quite get the numbers I was looking for. And they
Yep,
write it up as a disappointment that somehow this thing that they trained for 12 weeks for, that they spent, probably well over $1,000 in paying a coach to coach them for 3 months. And they spent $70 or more on an entry fee and food for the day. And they took all this time and effort and they can't see the value that they got from it. They can't
yep,
see themselves in there being successful, that this was fun, that
yep,
I went and did this thing yesterday and man, I laughed, I met new people, I hugged, I jumped up and down. It was a great day out. Instead we go, oh, the externals, these numbers, they weren't quite there and I didn't get this record, I didn't get this. And it's all very negative.
yep,
Um, I, and so I think that's the culture that we're working within. And I think that's the defensiveness about, I
yep,
don't want this to be a great achievement because I don't feel like I belong yet. And so if somebody tells me if this is a good enough achievement, then why don't I feel like I belong? So I go, well,
yep,
the belonging is a little bit away when I achieve more. And then it's
yep,
that weird addiction cycle, isn't it?
yep. The hamster on the wheel.
Mm,
But I think that's a societal issue. Like, I don't think
it
it's
is.
just a sport issue. It's like our
Absolutely.
value has been underpinned by what our output is and what we can achieve. And so it's really understandable that a lot of the time we do base our value on what we're able to do for others. Um, yeah, so I can completely relate to that. Um, and you don't just see it at the top level where it does start to become a really big problem. You do see it permeates everywhere.
Yeah, I think it starts at the bottom, and the people that get to the top with that same attitude, um, they normally get there with a whole lot of, and when I say the top, to the top of the podium or the top of the rankings, they don't ever seem that happy once they get there. And then, like you said, like staying there becomes the all consuming thing, because then
Yeah, that
where's
becomes
my
the
value
baseline.
if I'm not
Yeah.
number one?
Yep. Now you're just coasting on the baseline. Like you're not at the top of a tower anymore. You've been relegated to the bottom of another tower that's on the next mountain.
Yeah, it's quite tiring, that mindset, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So let's think about the steps that you took then to, how did you get off that track, and how do you build a new track?
I think having injured myself and just acknowledging the fact that like maybe I'll never get to do what I love again has given me like such a great appreciation for just the most simple pleasures of being in this sport that
Hmm.
that's what I'm focused on now. Um, I got a physical reminder of just how toxic that mindset was because it manifested in a physical injury. And so I felt that like I couldn't keep going that way. Like I was on the precipice and you needed to either let that mindset like completely squander your hope or just shift towards a new mindset. But I think just like grounding myself in gratitude that, I've had this thing happen to me, I've been able to overcome it. It's not the end of the world, not powerlifting, you're not powerlifting right now, but you're still loved.
Hmm.
You're not powerlifting right now, but your life is still really good. Um, I learned not to put so much weight into that one thing, being powerlifting. Um, and I recognized again how multifaceted my life actually is and how great it is. I think when you have that tendency to hyperfixate on one thing, you kind of negate everything else in your life. You're like, yeah, yeah, that's good, but like powerlifting. Um, so I don't do that anymore. Um, yeah, and I think I've sort of diversified what it means to be me, and what it means to be happy and to have purpose. Um, yeah,
Let's see if we can draw something that I think is very, very specific to this age and to your demographic. Um, it would appear to me that women getting involved in, traditionally male-dominated sports, which strength sports are. It's always been a lot more men than women. I'm watching this in rugby and AFL and cricket as well. Is
yeah,
there almost seems there's much less room. Well, probably could say there's much less room for women in general, but there's almost no room for a woman in these sports that isn't world class, that
yeah,
isn't setting records. That there's this massive pressure, and I don't know where it's from, but there seems to be much more pressure on, say, you than a young man your age to be really awesome at powerlifting.
yeah. This is not just a sport thing. Like this is something that women have to deal with every single day.
All right, I'm
Um,
gonna push back from my microphone, and I'm gonna let you go for it.
um, I think that there has always been very few places for women anyway. And so when there are a finite number of opportunities for women, women are made to contest one another as opposed to helping each other. And in the way that a lot of men can have camaraderie and assist each other's success, that hasn't been allowed for us in that same manner. Um, Women are constantly pinned against each other. Um, we're constantly compared to one another. There's a big scarcity mindset um, amongst young women. Um, but I
What
also
do you think that
think
scarcity mindset is?
that and we're trying to change this, but it's
Hmm.
that like I can't be good if she's good. There can only be
Oh,
one of
okay.
us, you know? Um, and that in order for me to reach my most fulfilled self, I've got to dethrone someone else. Um, which is something that has been said to me. Um, and
Sorry, somebody said that to you, that they have to dethrone you?
yes. And it's
Hmm.
a I think it's just that's just what women have to do, you know? Or like we don't have to do it. Maybe we've been told that we have to do it. Um, but there's just also so many high expectations placed on young women. Like, we've got to be pretty, but not too pretty because then you don't deserve to be respected. And if you're respected, you can't be too respected because then you're too bossy and you're too masculine. But if you're feminine, you can't look after yourself and you need to look after yourself. But if you aren't feminine, you're meant to be a traditional caregiver. You're meant to be a mother. Why aren't you mothering? But if you're only mothering, why aren't you working? Like it's women have to do a lot.
Yeah.
And you can see that in sport too. To be impressive, we've got to do a lot. And even then, it's like, oh, but how long can she maintain this for?
So it sounds like as soon as you jump over one hurdle, there's just a series of hurdles
More
of
hurdles.
increasing complexity of going, oh, okay, so you
Yes.
can jump over
Yeah.
that. Can you backflip it though?
Yep. Yep. And if you can backflip it, you must be a bitch. Like,
Oh, oh, sorry for laughing.
Oh.
That's not funny at all. But yeah, like so. Okay, okay. Um,
We're getting into some really deep, like societal issues that are kind of making me feel uncomfortable because you're just not supposed to talk about that. And
so I
it kind
think
of,
yeah, I think this is one of the ways that we deal with it. That we just
yeah.
start talking about it all the damn time until people go, oh, so that is a problem. Then get yeah, it really is, it really is.
See, no, I feel like the kickback is that now it's just a me problem.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
just, yeah, and it's not that it's not a women's problem. It's just what's kind of been done to us, I think.
yep. Yeah, like it's very clear. It's very, very clear. Um, I had a like a really my big disappointment in rugby at the moment because I love rugby. That's like I said before. That's where I'm from. I think so many good things in my life happened in rugby clubs and that sense of community and belonging that was once there. And that's also what I loved about powerlifting, how inclusive and inviting the community is. And when we start putting restrictions or qualifications on who can be part of the community, that's no longer a community belonging. That's a community of fitting in.
Yes,
And I hate fitting in. That fitting in
me
model,
too.
like, go fuck that. I don't want that. You want me to fit it? I'm going to be louder then. You want me to be quiet? I'm going to be really loud. You
Yeah.
want me to be demure and conservative? All right, I'm going to be really out there, just
Yeah.
because,
Which is it's hard, that's
you know,
hard. Like it's easy to say that I want to walk to the beat of my own drum, but like
but
when you're
walking to
the
that beat.
only yeah, and you're alone doing that, like that's super isolating.
What's the how does that feel as an experience of going? All right, I know I'm gonna be isolated. I'm gonna go out on my own. How does that feel? How do you do it?
You try and do it in the most like demure way possible. Like I'm gonna walk to the beat of my own drum, but I'm gonna be super lovely while I do it.
Oh wow, wow.
I'm gonna make it so that they can't hate me whilst I do this.
Yeah, I've gone the last few years. I've gone the other direction. I thought exactly like that. I'm gonna be me in such a way that everybody's gonna love it. Now I try and find like I actually want some people to hate it because if I'm doing
I'm
my job
still at the stage where I'm like so
right,
scared of being hated.
right, it's scary. It's really
It
scary.
is. I hate being hated.
Mm. Um, start thinking about this. I like this question: is who would you, if you had to be hated, who would you want to hate you?
Someone really important. Because they're the opinions that matter the most
Right.
in a way. They're the ones that have the most affluence. You have to matter for somebody to matter to hate you. Otherwise, you're just like a noise in the background.
So that's a comment on our social media age, I guess. All right, let's go. How do we get? How do we fix it? There we go. Um, it's not that simple. In your opinion, what are some of the steps that need to happen for some of that for our sport generally become more inclusive? We can't because we can't really do things about society in general at wider, but this is our little corner over here. This is powerlifting. How do we change the culture, or how do we change things structurally so that pressure is released a little bit?
I think the way that society tried to do is they tried to get rid of winning.
Yeah, yeah, that
And
doesn't
they get,
that
yeah,
doesn't
that
work
didn't work.
because winning
So
is
we can't
fucking
get rid of
cool.
that.
Yeah, right.
Um, I don't know. I think having a strong sense of local community is really important. Um, yeah, I think that's exceptionally important.
So, as in local physical communities, not just digital communities or online communities.
A bit of both, but just depends on what the parameters of them are, I suppose. Like, I think the really important thing is that we have a really positive culture here in Australia, and that everyone feels like they have their place in that community, and that they don't have to vie for a place,
Hmm.
to be seen and heard. And at the moment, that's definitely changing. But I think maybe in the past, it maybe could have been that, like, you had to win to be heard, and so we're all sort of grappling for finite positions. Um, So yeah, I think fostering a strong sense of immediate community here in Australia is really important.
Hmm. How do we do that? Or how are we? How are we going with that at the moment? Do you think?
I think we're going very well at
Yeah.
it. I love the new federation. I really like how we've got all these invitational events sort of popping up around the country that are giving people an opportunity to pursue different titles and
Hmm.
to be championed on a platform that isn't just worlds or isn't just nationals, and to be seen and heard and respected on those platforms, um, is really, really good. I think all of the opportunities that we now have to compete internationally that haven't been available to us for a really long time are really important.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think uh, such a hard one.
Yeah, it is, right?
It's such a
It
hard
is.
one. Um,
How do you think we're
yeah,
going with local engagement, building those local communities?
really good. I was at the team champs on the weekend and that was awesome.
Hmm.
That was so cool. And even in the lead up to it, just, the podcast and how they presented the teams online and the camaraderie between the teams and um yeah, that was really, really cool. We've got another invitational coming up here in Victoria, at C1 called
Hmm.
Nightfall. Another awesome opportunity for local level lifters to be appreciated for what they do and to be seen and championed.
Hmm.
Yeah, we've got lots of them at the moment, I think. There was another one up in Queensland. There's one in Perth. What's the one in Perth that you guys have?
Yes, we have the Night of
Night of
Champions.
Champions?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I really,
I love those.
I was, we had that. I was at that last year. Refereed a couple of sessions. That seems like a really fun format too.
Yeah,
I
it
love, I
does.
love what Jacob does over here with naming everything after wrestling. So
I
it's
didn't
all.
even,
Oh,
yeah, I did not pick up on that. I know
yeah.
nothing about
So
wrestling.
so in my time, um, I wouldn't say I was out of powerlifting, but I was definitely away from the IPF for a few years. I'd still watch what was going on because he's in my town. It's my sport, it's my community, and so I'd see these events coming up and it'd be like Money in the Bank, Power Mania instead of WrestleMania, and
Oh,
Night of
okay. Yeah.
Champions, and
Yep.
I'm like going, oh, this dude's a wrestling fan. This is awesome. I love this. This
That
is
is
great.
really cool. I like that
Yeah.
homage.
So I think it's as obviously somebody that put a lot of time and finances and effort into powerlifting for a really long time, seeing that it just keeps on going and keeps on evolving, and we have more and more opportunities like this. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, definitely.
I especially like that these invitationals are for locals. It's not just the same group of elites getting invited to the
Yep.
same things all the time.
Yep.
Which, if you go back sort of 10, 15 years when we started doing invitationals in Australia, that's what it was. It
Yep.
was it was all the same people. Like I knew
Yep.
that.
And then so everyone in the community is vying to be one of those people.
Yep. And it created, I think it unfortunately created this little bubble that
Yep.
was, yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it so
Yep.
much.
Very us and them.
Yeah, and I didn't
Yep.
like being othered by that.
Yep. Yep.
Because And it's mostly done around who was going to put a world record attempt on the bar for a lift. So I would always get an invite for that. And then you had a few others like JP Couchy was always there, Joey Zangini was always there, Liz Craven, Kelly Fagan, almost called a different name. Um, and yeah, it really was the same people all the time at every event, and we'd just see each other in a different city. And for me,
Yep.
that was not quite right.
No.
And so seeing it now that you've got these levels and layers to everything, it's so much more
Yep.
fun. So much more fun.
And I really love the thing that's really stood out to me is like how well we're using our social media platforms to humanize these athletes,
Yeah.
in a way where you get to learn about who they are and what their story is and what this means to them. Like, oh, I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Like that really fosters community and belonging. And I think that's why that's what we need.
Yep.
That's my answer. That's what we need.
That's what we need. Just more powerlifters talking about non-powerlifting things.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Human things.
Human things. Kind of like this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I like to give myself a pat on the back every now and then. Yay for me.
So you should.
This has all come about from traveling so often and wanting to be like, I love this community, always have done for 20 years now. But where I lived, I was one of the most isolated parts in this country, not just on the planet. And so every time I went to a competition, I got to talk to powerlifters. And I was like, oh, I belong around powerlifters. For me, it was never about fitting in. I knew I didn't fit in places. Like when you're 175 kilos, you look like a bikie, but you're actually this really sweet guy that counsels young people. I got used
Yeah.
to not fitting in anywhere I was. Like I was quite happy standing out. But in powerlifting, I felt like I belonged because finally I
Yeah.
found this community of weirdos that were all madly interested in three lifts. And you go, yeah, that's fucking weird. You guys are odd. Like, you guys spend so much time doing three things. You go, yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
What
it's
are you gonna
cool,
do
huh?
tomorrow? I gotta squat again.
She go, what do you mean? Like, I would train the day after nationals just because I wanted to lift with people. So that was my
Yeah, I
chance
get that.
to lift in a community. But yeah, and so I would find that, so like someone like Peter Day, I would have all these wonderful snippets of conversations over a 10 to 12 year period. I think we've known each other 12 years now, but we've never really fully completed a conversation because we don't have that much time. It's
Yep.
uh, always very rushed and brief, but you can tell that there's something there and go, well, what else is there? Because this
And you had
person
her on
seems
last
cool.
week, didn't you?
Yeah,
Was
we
it
did.
last week? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Had an amazing chat kept on, we talked for over 2 hours and probably would have gone for 3 or 4 if we had the space available. And so having all these conversations now with powerlifters where we can spend a little bit more time, get to know each other a bit more, see what makes everyone tick. And in
Yep.
doing so, we find more overlaps between everyone.
Yep. I love that. And I love
Yeah.
that the purpose isn't to like um sell something or promote a brand or
Right.
educate or
Yeah.
it's just a chat.
It's
Like
kind
the outcome is the process of the chatting and then you just turn it off and then who cares what happens afterwards.
Yep. Yeah. I really, we've done enough education in powerlifting now to last us forever. I think we all know. Your arm goes like this, right? Yep. Bench. Yep.
But
And
I
you lay,
really
and
want
you
to
lay
know
on.
the 3 best cues for my squat.
But what's the exact word? I mean, is there a word that's better than all the other words? It's whatever works, and
Yeah.
it'll change from year to year.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think the big thing about powerlifting now for me is this is the way that I get to keep playing because obviously with some of my medical stuff, powerlifting or lifting really heavy is not sensible or advised.
Yeah, and we spoke a little bit about your
Mm,
medical stuff when we
yeah.
were in Perth. So yeah, completely. That's a good decision on your
He's
part.
like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't.
Oh yeah.
But this way, yeah, I get to continue what was fun about the sport and build people out. And I think the
Yep.
more spaces we allow for overlap for people, rather than
Yep.
find out what's different,
Yep.
um,
Yep. Oh, hugely.
That's
Yes,
the
yes. I like
bit,
that.
right? That's the bit.
Yep. 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 Common humanity.
Because yeah, and I don't know, it's probably relatable for you, but we'll see how it sounds. As a super heavyweight and as a giant super heavyweight, I wasn't just a little bit over 120. I was a long way over 120. Um, and in terms of what I was lifting, I don't think anybody still to this day has come within 40 kilos in the IPF
Yep.
of what I was doing and what I did
Far
a
out.
lot. And so if you just go, all right, he doesn't look like me, he's not from around here, and when we're lifting, it's not really the same. That's just, I'm out. I'm excluded.
Yep.
So for me, it
Yep.
was really important to find those. Where are the areas that we overlap?
Yep.
Because it wasn't in bench pressing ability with me and really anybody in the country at one point.
Yeah. Yep.
So it wasn't. I didn't have that common where we've got the same struggle on this lift, or we've got the same. We got the same lift, or we're competitive here. It
Yep.
had to be about things off the platform,
Yep.
and they're always way more fun. Way
Yeah,
more fun.
absolutely. Yep.
Like
Yep.
finding out that you're into musical theatre.
Yeah. Look, there are a lot of us. Like Abby Boswell
Mm-hmm.
is into the musical theatre too. I
Dancer,
love
right?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think she stopped in London on her way to Germany, and she went to see, I think, the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
I was following her story. She went to 2 plays in a day, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
You
Cool
have to
as.
when you're there. That's so cool.
Um, is there any others? So we've got you and Abby. We've got Kate to the bar, and then I think her name is Kate Toms, the music teacher. So there's 4
Yeah.
so far. Who else
Who
is
can
out
I
there?
think of? There used to be a Victorian lifter. I don't know if he's still lifting. His name's David. I think his last name's BN. He's a dancer.
Okay.
Um, who else is there that does musical theatre? Oh, there's a few that I know that listen to, like, he'll be like on the like behind the platform. He'll be listening to like Hamilton before they
Wow.
before they
Okay.
lift.
Yeah.
Leanne Derrick's one who listens to musical theatre before she lifts. Um, who else? I can't really think of any off the top of my tongue, but I'm sure there's a lot of us.
I think "Don't Rain on My Parade" would be a really great song to get hyped up to.
Oh, absolutely,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be into that. Um, I used to when I started wearing headphones, which was very rarely. People would go, "What are you listening to?" I go, "Oh, nothing. I just like people leaving me. I just like that people leave me alone when I put these on."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's literally why I've bought these recently, because I used to wear AirPods, but because I've always got my hair down, you couldn't see that I was listening to music, so I
Hmm.
just came across as really rude. So this is like the visual sign of, like, I'm not ignoring you. I just have some cool tunes in my ears.
Yeah, I got some.
And it works really well.
My wife bought me some really cool Sony noise canceling headphones a few years back when I was working in a neuroscience lab, and there was a couple of PhD students in there. One in particular, I just didn't want to listen to at all. So she bought me headphones, and everyone else in the lab got the idea that when Nathan put his headphones on and turned towards his laptop, that was his cue that he's going to be writing for at least 45 minutes to an hour. Leave him alone. Um, that was very obvious to everybody except to the person who was the reason why I bought the headphones in the first place.
So it really didn't work.
Didn't work at all, but I've got a really nice set of headphones now.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Okay. So that whole the music bit. Let's go back to there. What music do you listen to right before you go out? Like, what are you doing? Are you a music person? Are you
Yeah, I'm a music person.
distracting? Do you
No,
focus? What's
I'm
your
a music
process?
person. I'm a music person. I, for me, I have this thing that I call, I don't think that I've coined it this. But I call it lucky girl mentality. So I listen to music that makes me feel really optimistic, and if something amazing is just
Ooh,
about to happen, and then I'm sitting in the moments before I actualize my full potential.
wow.
And it makes me feel really present, and I honestly mostly remember those moments before I go out onto the platform, and then you just don't remember anything. Um, but I like to, I suppose it's a form of manifestation, but it's like I listen to things that make me feel like this could be the backing track of a movie scene that just gets you on the edge of your seat.
Right. Have you
Love
got,
it.
have you, oh, wow. There's so much there. I love that.
Oh,
That's especially, so do you find that when you lift, then you have a lot of times where you don't remember the lift?
yeah, absolutely. Yup,
And
yup,
okay, so the flow researcher over here is just going, wow, you have worked out how to get into flow quickly and effortlessly.
yup, yup. And then you
Mm.
remember putting the bar down and you're like,
Oh, I did it. Oh, cool. That
oh,
was fun.
and like the tingles that you get all over your body, like, oh,
Hmm.
amazing. I love it. Yeah. And it's you just kind of like
Huh.
being on the platform, like I will never stop competing, I don't think, because I just don't know how to simulate that feeling. Like I can't do it in training. There's just a very, very particular like concoction, like a recipe that
Yes.
has to be put together for me to get onto the podium, onto
Yep.
the platform and just feel a certain way that is just almost euphoric.
Oh, okay. So
It's like being on drugs.
yeah, yeah. The platform. So in terms of flow neuroscience, the stakes have to be at a certain level for you to pay attention.
Yep,
If the stakes aren't high enough, if it doesn't, if you're using that as a flow trigger, if the stakes aren't high enough, they're just not high enough.
yep,
Um, I totally get that thing about being on the platform. As if and still to this day, if anybody says, where do you feel the most you? Where do you feel the most alive? I go on the platform every single
yep.
time.
Yeah, me too.
Um, and what I've figured out, post powerlifting is that for me, that's where I got into flow the easiest and the most often. Um,
Yep,
my other theory, actually more than a theory, I firmly believe that whoever's standing on top of the podium is the person that got into flow more often than anybody else, either that day and probably over the course of their training history, they
yep,
get into flow
yep,
more often.
yep,
Um,
yep, definitely.
you, my friend, seem to be there very, very often, and that little trick of using the music, because you're not using. I'm not sure if you realize you're not using music the way everyone else is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
right.
I didn't know that. How does everyone else use music? I thought that that's what you just did.
Right. Well, you've got music insofar as you're all listening to music and you got headphones on and you're trying to cultivate something. Most people are using the music as an external driver. And
Yep,
so it's trying to, and normally they go, we're trying to create aggression. And I'm like, please don't. I think aggression is wasted in strength sports. There's more to do. Extreme focus is what I like hearing about.
yep,
In fact, I talked to a guy last week about Ed Cohen and how Ed Cohen's intense focus when training is legendary, and there's nothing external about it at all. It's all internal.
yep,
I think what you're doing by trying to create a soundtrack to a great movie is you're going to this deep embodiment, and you're going into a lot of fantasy and visualization and
yeah,
and all of
yep,
these kind of things. I'm like, wow, you're just lining up so many flow triggers all at once.
yep. Oh,
And
I
I
didn't even know I was doing
Yeah, and I
that.
think most people don't. They just go,
Yep,
"Yeah, I seem to do really well a lot at stuff." And you're
yep,
going,
yep.
"That's probably why." Is you've
Yeah.
become a flow master without realizing that that's what you're doing.
Oh, amazing.
Yay for you!
I know.
Because that I'm assuming you get nervous and that there's a sense of fear at some point before you lift.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Mm,
I reconceptualize it though, so that it's not fear, it's excitement, because I think
yes,
that those
yeah,
two things feel the same.
they
And
do.
it's really about perspective and what you let that feeling do to you.
Yep,
And so whenever I'm feeling what feels like fear, I tell myself that um it's anticipation.
Yes,
It's
it
not even
is.
it's not even it's excitement, but it's anticipation of something amazing happening or
Yes.
the potential for something amazing to happen.
Oh
Not
my
that, you know,
gosh. Nervous
not
is
that I
fun.
need that amazing not that I need that amazing thing to happen, but like isn't it amazing that the potential of something amazing, like, you know,
Yep.
fantastic, you like right in this moment you have every opportunity you know to just do something incredible. And you're like, aren't I lucky? Look at this. Like everything is lined up for me so that I can make magic. Like I just that G's me up. I don't feel like, oh my God, I hope that this, and I definitely have been there before, you know, oh my God, I really hope that I don't, you know, stuff this up. It's always like,
Here we
this is
go.
the moment before it happens. And like that moment before it happens, oh, mwah, I love that moment.
Yeah, I had a mentor, Eric Cobb was his name. He called it arrogant self belief, just because we needed to come up with a title for it. Uh,
Yeah,
and and so I remember, who was it? It was Blaine Sumner. He asked me one time. He goes, "Have you ever done that in training?" I go, "No, no, I haven't."
no,
He
no.
goes, "Why are you loading it now?" I'm going, "I got this." He goes, "What makes you think you've got it?" I go, "I've got it. I've got it. I
I've got
was
arrogant self-belief.
I've got arrogant self belief that I think that I've been training for long enough. I've done all these different things in training. I know my history. I was there for all of it. No one else was. So you don't get to
Yep.
have an opinion right now. Only my opinion counts. And I think I got it. And
We're so similar.
because I'd gone because and it's because of that reflective process in training.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you're going, well, what am I like? And you're learning about yourself and you're allowing the bar to teach you about you, that you can
yep,
take that to any situation going, fucking hold my beer, I got this. Watch
yeah,
me.
yep,
People can't
yep.
do that. I go, well, no, most people can't do that. You're right. People can't do it. But I can. Watch me.
Watch me.
And so, yeah, I think a lot of people think that's arrogance. I don't think it's arrogance at all. I think it's being in touch with your journey.
Yep,
And so in
yep.
that
I don't
respect,
think it's arrogance
yeah.
either. It's like radical self-belief.
Yeah. I like
It's not
radical
arrogant,
self-belief.
it's radical.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And also I think because you're not going up there with that fear, well, the fear isn't coming through as the story of, if I miss this, people are going to hate me. Um, People won't think I'm cool anymore. I'm going to get kicked out of the gang. You know, you're not doing that for external validation. So because you're going, oh, I've been created for this moment.
Yep,
This is the movie moment. If this was a
yep.
Hollywood film, there would be music, stirring music starting to rise as I walk out to deadlift. Um,
Yep.
and in fact, I think this might be you as well. You probably got that soundtrack in your head sometimes, just generally during the day, going, "Yeah, here comes the sweatband music. All right, I've got, I'm here now. It's fine."
Yeah, yeah. And
Um,
it's not in the point like I feel like my life is so much better than everybody else's that it deserves to be cinematic and recorded. It's more like I'm I have no choice but to be the main character in my life, and so I may as well position everything in a way where it is a part of the plot.
yep.
And even if it is a moment where there's adversity or there's difficulty, knowing that every good movie has, you know, the fall before
Hmm.
the rise, like that's been something that's helped me so much, like particularly through this injury. Like I kind of perceived it as like this is crap, but anything that happens after this injury is a part of your story, and so you've got to make the most of that. Like you can't let the movie end now. You can't let your story end now. You can't just give up.
Hmm.
You've got to turn it into something. And so I wasn't super focused on what that outcome was. It was just like I'm in the active process of turning this into something, and whatever that outcome is, I'm happy with. And now that I can do that, and it is fortunate that the outcome ended up being that I can still powerlift. I now just approach everything like that. It's like every moment is just the moments before the rest of the good story, you know? Um, and people enjoy stories and they listen to stories whilst you tell them. They don't listen to them for the ending. They don't care about the ending unless the middle chunk was good, you know? So make your story good.
Hmm.
Whatever happens, make it good.
Yeah, that's yeah, that is. I love that. That's definitely going to get cut up into a reel at some point. I think that's really. Um, I think how do you cultivate that?
I
Like, because there's so many, like, rehab sucks. I've had 2 joint replacements now. It's really, and started with 5 strokes, and then all the cardiac rehab really sucks. It's
yeah,
awful. It doesn't
definitely.
feel good.
Yeah.
There's nothing
And look, I
pleasurable
think
about it at all.
no, no, it really like in those moments it's really hard to hold on to something, I suppose. Um And I suppose that, like, to me, I never understood. It's only recently that I've really understood religion, actually, because in some way, what I'm doing is somewhat spiritual. Like, it's holding myself to like a higher plot line, I suppose, and that knowing all these things are going to happen for a reason. And I suppose that's what religion is, kind of. So, so I think a lot of people do it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I sort of thought of that. I know for me, like my childhood, I'd like there was a lot of adversity in my childhood, and I can still see that I'm a very successful person, and that a lot of what I went through was unfortunate, but it has led to me being the person that I am today. And so when I think you go through that stuff early in your life, you kind of work out that adversity is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that happens to everyone, and that struggle is a very human thing. And and you look to people that you admire and you see that their stories have come from struggle. Like there's no amazing stories that have just been flawlessly perfect
Just easy.
or you're just easy. Like, but that's not a good story. Why would I want to listen to something that was just easy? Like, there's no heartbreak, there's no
Mm.
yearning, there's no guts to it, you know? And so, like, I think once you realize that that's what makes life life, you kind of you don't embrace them in the way that you welcome shit happening, but like when it comes, you're kind of like, oh well, I guess this is my adversity that I've got to eat up.
Right.
And I think it would get to a point that like, and this is a very privileged point of view whereby my adversity has not been all that, like it hasn't been that bad. And there are definitely people who just get life handed to them in the worst possible way. And you could just see that they're never going to be able to adopt this kind of mentality. So it is one of privilege.
Hmm.
Um, but in saying that, if you have the privilege to adopt that mindset, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. Kind of with you. It's been my experience though that the most of the people that if they're alive today and they've been through a lot of adversity, they tend to have this very grateful mindset, and their locus tends to be more internal than external on most
Yep.
things.
Yep.
And like you talk about, they've absorbed the experience because they went through it, whether it was good or bad.
Yeah.
They
It's
had
not
it.
a bag you carry behind you. Like it's,
Oh, I like that. I like
yeah.
it's not a suitcase, it's not luggage, it's
No,
not
it's not
baggage.
weighing you down. It's literally formative. Like
Yeah.
it's the reason that you are. You can't just let go of that.
How much do you think gratitude plays into that?
Uh, a lot. Again, I feel like I've only been able to really recognize and utilize gratitude like really this year.
Hmm.
Like a few personal things that have happened to me this year, as well as this injury that have like really opened my eyes to gratitude.
Okay. Do you want to share?
Nope.
No.
No, I'm okay. Too much vulnerability already.
This
Oh,
this is pretty typical for me, and I warn people all the time. I said always put a limit on me because I won't stop. I'll just ask. And like I think people are incredibly fascinating. I love
yeah.
finding out what makes people tick and digging deeper and deeper and
Maybe
deeper. And
we can talk about it off the podcast.
what's been
I do feel that there is a amount of sharing that
it becomes too
not
much, and it
yeah, it becomes
becomes a
too much
little
and there's certain things that you just
almost.
can't share with everybody because it almost like dilutes your experience of it. Like it's a very private thing.
I think that's a great point. There's a bunch of stuff that I can think of straight off the
My
top of my head.
cat's my cat's back and she's knocking things around.
Just reminding, I'm still here. I'm
I'm still
important.
here. It's lunchtime.
I love that about cats. Yeah, so always with me, like I'll always ask, and I'm quite happy people going, no, I'm gone.
No.
Okay, so, all right, that's where the boundary is. Good to know. That's where we. But yeah, I think there's a temptation these days to do the vulnerable overshare because I
Yes.
think we're on a bit of a pendulum, and understanding that sometimes
Forced connection.
mm,
Yeah.
sometimes we try to use whether it's trauma or difficult circumstances almost like a weapon, and it's performative.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
All right, so I love the gratitude bit. It plays into a lot of my strategies for athletic development or career development or any development. I think starting with that gratitude, because gratitude is just acknowledging that something good happened, and that's it.
Yep.
Nothing flash or amazing about it. But my theory is that our life ends up being whatever we pay attention to.
Definitely.
And what we remember, because we only remember the things that we paid attention to. We were either forced to pay
Yep.
attention to it sometimes,
Yeah.
and we
Yep.
call that
But we
trauma.
we are so negatively geared, aren't we,
Well,
humans? We just love
we do have that
immersing ourselves in negativity.
negativity bias because it's
Yeah.
evolutionarily
Safety. Yeah. Yep.
advantageous, keeps us out of
Yeah.
trouble.
Absolutely. Yep.
But I think, and so that's why I think gratitude is such an active. It's an active thing because if left to our own devices, we just go, it was all right. And then in
Yep.
Australia,
Yeah.
would just define everything by what it's not. No, it's not bad.
Yep. Yeah.
It's not the
Yeah.
it's not the best. It's not the best I've seen.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, well, it's no Hamilton.
Yeah.
Stuff like, and so
It's
we just
always falling short. It
yeah,
might be like 99% of Hamilton, but it's not quite Hamilton.
it's not Hamilton. It's not the original, is it? It's like, oh, fuck, there's no pleasing these people. And so I think gratitude in our culture is quite radical.
Yeah.
To be able to
Yep.
go, I really loved that croissant I just ate. In fact, I'm going to go get one after this podcast.
Oh, nice. Now I want one.
It's podcast inception. I like doing cookie inception with people as well. Just start mentioning like walnut choc chip cookies, dark choc
And
chips,
then
walnuts.
after this, I'm going to be looking for one.
And then just finding out how many people then went and ate a walnut and dark choc chip cookie or made their own recipe. And if you have made your own recipe, if you're listening out there, get in contact with me. I want to know what it was.
So impressionable.
This is an attention economy. I want to know that your attention is going to the good things like choc chip cookies and croissants.
And gratitude.
And gratitude. Being grateful for all of those things.
Oh,
dear me. Shall we do a couple more powerlifting questions?
yeah, go
or
for it.
non-powerlifting? Which would you prefer?
Up to you. Up to you. We could do some powerlifting and non-powerlifting.
Let's go one and see if it combines from the 36 questions I often ask. The first question is always about dinner invitations. If you could invite,
Yes.
if you had your choice of anybody in the world to invite to dinner tonight, who would you invite for tea?
And it's dead or alive, right? Or alive.
You can eat with a dead person. You're not meant to be eating the dead person, but so preferably alive so you can enjoy the meal, have some conversation.
Oh my God. I feel like I would want to sit down with Brene Brown.
Oh, she's fascinating, isn't she?
Oh, she is. She is. I've read all of her books. I think she is amazing. She's definitely seen both sides of life. Um, who else would I want to sit down with? Maybe like Joni Mitchell. That would be really cool.
Ooh.
Who else might I want to sit down with? I don't know. So I've named a writer and a researcher. I've named a musician. How about an athlete?
I would want, if I could invite an athlete to dinner right now, it would be Ilona Maher.
Yes, I love her.
Right?
Isn't she incredible? That's a great answer.
Yeah,
That is a great answer.
She's
She
so
is
cool.
really cool. Yeah, I'm gonna steal your answer.
All right, you can have my answer.
100% gonna steal your answer.
I think Alona Mar is the correct answer to that question. Just
Yeah,
like any
that is,
athlete
yeah,
anywhere, you
no,
go, yeah, she's the correct answer.
yeah, definitely, definitely. If I was gonna sit down with like a politician, I would just be really interested in talking to Donald Trump. Just to see what he's like, you know?
Right? I just want just to be in a room watching his,
Just,
yeah,
yeah, to watch that unfold in front of me and just be like, how?
yeah. I've also been through a lot of cyclones. Um, I want to see an exploding volcano, an erupting volcano. I think Donald Trump is somewhere in that region. Like, why do you want to see
Yeah,
that
I
and go,
could.
I'm weirdly fascinated by destructive things?
Oh, yeah, I think that's enough answers for me, but they're the kind of people that probably. Not
uh,
that I'd be really interested in what he said. I just like,
just to have the experience of having met.
yeah, yeah. Ah.
Powerlifting question then. Biggest influence
Um,
or influences?
influences. I think so. When I first started powerlifting, um, I was kind of initially, I think a lot of people look towards like the world platform first, and then they sort of trickle down to their local communities. Whereas mine was like the reverse. Like I became aware of like powerlifters in Australia first
Mm-hmm.
before I even worked out what the IPF was.
Who's the what is an IPF?
What is an IPF?
There's many
And
answers to
so,
that, and none of them are
yeah,
polite.
um, I think for me, like the people that I initially sort of really looked up to in the sport were people in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I really like the first person that I followed on social media who was a powerlifter was Rebecca Chambers. And I used to listen to Alex Hayes and Will Berkman's podcast
I
called Weekly Weights. And
think I was.
Alex and I are friends now, and like I've told him this before, but like he was pivotal for me like five,
Really?
6 years ago. Yeah,
Oh, that's
absolutely.
cool. I
Yeah, yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah.
I think I was one of the first 5 or 6 guests on that. Uh,
See, I think I started listening at like episode 100 or something like that. So I need to go back and listen to yours. Um,
I remember
Liz
seeing
Craven as well
Liz.
from
Yep.
like local scene. I remember I went to the Australian Powerlifting Summit in 2019 or 2020 when I first started, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's Liz Craven!" And just yeah, she just her energy, like I just and what she had been able to achieve, like she's somebody that I really look up to as well. Um, on the international platform, Leah Bavois, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, amazing. Agatha,
Mm-hmm.
superhuman, superhuman, incredible.
It looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, Carlina,
Maybe there's some
love that.
adamantium involved with Agatha.
She's
Like
just,
that, I think
it's.
she's gone to Marvel Studios at some point. Surely.
Come on. Carlina, like, being another health professional and
Mm-hmm.
knowing the demands of that kind of work and then how far she's been able to get. Evie Corrigan is so sweet,
Yep.
um, and just a really nice person. I love seeing all these beautiful people up at the top level of powerlifting. I think, you do definitely see a lot of ego at that level, and you see a lot of um, performative spectacle, showmanship, which is very entertaining. But I really like seeing people who are like me up on the platform because it makes it feel like I could be there too.
Yep.
Um,
You know,
yeah.
I think that's a really good point there. One of my heroes from, and this is pre-social media because I'm old, but we had YouTube, and so a few times I saw on YouTube little Finnish fella called Kenta Sandvik, who's won world bench like a million times, European champion, world champion, all these kind of IPF Hall of Fame, and we met in 2010 in Texas. I'd heard a lot about him from our mutual good friend who was the New Zealand champion, Ruben Samanu. And so I'm like, oh, Kenta-san, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to meet my hero. And what struck me was how incredibly normal he was and how incredibly average. He's a mailman. He's married. He's got a child. We found that most of our life was pretty much similar, and that we're both kind of boring and not that interesting. And there was just this one thing that we're both exceptional at. And that's how we met, but it's not what was cool about him. And then, we catch up all the time. I got to hang out with him again in Norway. And so I found this idea of the powerlifters that I was drawn to then, I'm still drawn to now, and they're still around. The
Yeah.
people doing the showmanship and the pantomime, they all
Yep.
left. They were here
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
few years and they left. This
Yep.
wasn't for them.
Yep. No, definitely not. Although like that whole idea of like relating to people, like that can be quite like abrasive for others. Like that whole idea of like dehumanizing your idols such that you can't see that they are like you, so that you can make excuses for why you're not like them,
Yep.
is probably a fairly common thing to do. And if you can relate to that person, it makes you acutely aware of how much potential you possibly could have had, but you didn't try as hard as they did.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think that's what made
yeah.
the sport so accessible for me, was that guys like Kenta, Ruben, who else did I meet around that time? Dan Gaudreau comes to mind, Frederick Svensson, he was around back then. The only one that I still have that has an aura about him is Vaiki Kadama, but I'm not quite sure he's 100% human anyway. I think he was possibly synthesized in a lab.
Yeah. That's like I met Russell Orhe at Worlds last year, and like that man is like he's an action figure. He has been taken out of the box and blown up into
Right.
human size. Yeah, that man is flawless. You're like, there is nothing similar about you and me.
Right. Everyone else I've ever met, I've just gone, oh wow, you're just like me. So,
Yeah.
if you can do it, I can definitely do it.
Yeah, I think that's exceptionally satisfying to realize that the limitations you imposed on yourself were false and that something
Yeah.
is possible so long as you put
Right.
your mind to it. Well, not everything is possible. I mean, you have to be realistic, but
Well, I still
I was
think
saying this to
gravity's a
somebody
theory.
else. Oh yeah, I like that. Just turn it off with your mind's eye.
It will, one day I'm going to lift something and it's not going to stop. I'm going to break gravity. It'll happen a bit. It hasn't happened yet, and you can't tell,
No.
and I will keep trying. It'll happen one day.
I like that persistence. I think they call that what do they call that when you try the same thing over and over again but you end up with the same outcome? What did Einstein say that was? Insanity?
Not sure. And it probably wasn't Einstein anyway.
Maybe it wasn't.
I love that Einstein gets so many quotes attributed
Oh,
to
he
him.
really
And
does.
I've gone, did he really
It's not
say
fair,
that?
actually.
Did he say that much publicly? Really? Are you sure he said
Probably
that?
not.
The same with Mark Twain. Mark Twain quotes.
Yes.
Let's just
Yes.
tack him on at the end. It's going to sound believable.
Yeah, he's credible.
Yeah, we'll accept it.
Same with the Dalai Lama, right? Just slap his name on the end.
I like those ones that it's obviously not the Dalai Lama that says it. It's like, fuck off, Dalai Lama. Fuck Mondays.
He's probably thought it. He's human.
He's like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's too funny. Too funny. I like that you got introduced to local powerlifters before you met international powerlifters, because I think that's a really cool thing from my generation. Is that's pretty much how we got introduced to everyone. We saw who was cool at a local level, and then sometimes that really cool local lifter was actually cool internationally too.
Double whammy.
Oh my god! So I always love telling people. Adam Coe worked at one of the first gyms I ever used to train at, and he held me a little bit, learned how to squat. He doesn't remember it, which I still think is hilarious. Makes the story even better because he remembers my training partners, but he doesn't remember
you
me.
were unimpressionable.
I'm like, okay, was I that bad? Was I so boring that you didn't remember me? But then found out like a few years after that I'm like, oh wow, Adam Coe was like the second best in the world behind Ed Cohen. oh wow, this guy's awesome. He's won everything. He's Australia's best ever, and all this. I'm like, oh well, that's really cool. But I knew him as the personal trainer that wore jeans at the gym.
Yeah.
That's how I knew him, and so it was a. I think
You knew
had a
you knew Clark Kent him. You didn't know
yeah.
Superman. You knew Clark Kent.
I knew the personal trainer that wore singlet, jeans, and thongs in the gym. He was cool. He was really cool. Um, but yeah, so there was that, and so I think one of the things that I'm not always a huge fan of is this hero worship now because of social media that we have of
Yep.
certain lifters. Um, especially when some of them are my friends. I just gone, you know that that's not them, right? And just go, that
Yeah.
they have all the same problems that we've got. And,
Yeah. It's
um,
interesting though, because I perceive that to be like something that you only really see amongst male lifters.
is it now? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You see, like, and especially there's a lot of younger lifters coming through at the moment who are like, I'm the best there ever was. You'll never see what's coming next. Me, me, me. I'm incredible. And you look in the comment section, it's like, yes, we love him. Isn't he amazing? Rah, 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 rah. Rah. Whereas, like, a lot of the women are very gracious and they they can't do that. Um, I don't know what you would see if they did do that because it just doesn't happen. You don't see what the comment sections of that would be like because a lot of the women at that level are just, yeah, they're not positioning themselves like that. And I think
Right.
that's really interesting.
Is it kind of like the Conor McGregor UFC style bravado of these young men saying, I am the greatest, I'm, bow
And
down,
people
worship me?
accepting it. Yeah, and people accepting it and people saying that
Mm.
that's good behavior. Whereas if a woman was to do that, she would just be told to sit down.
I think just over 10 years ago, young men would have been told to sit down. I think a lot has changed. That
What do
we've,
you think's changed?
um, I don't know, Trump. Uh, actually, probably, like you look at the rise of people like Andrew Tate or Trump or, just pick a whole bunch through that use that same tactic of
Joe
the
Rogan.
of just telling people that they're the best ever and that
Yep.
they're right and they bluster and yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of that, and because it's worked so often over the last sort of 10 to 12 years, I think it's now a tactic and it's seen as it's been quite credible for getting effective results.
Yeah.
Um, that's it. Logan Paul, guys like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that YouTube culture has
Yeah.
spawned a lot of ugliness that has now filtered its way through. I remember a very notable powerlifter at the time on the lead into the Arnold Classic. I won't say which year because then it's really obvious. We kept on referring to himself in comments as "Daddy's coming home," and we fucking roasted him. He got roasted so bad by all the older
Um,
powerlifters. Just go, yeah, nah, man, we don't do that shit. That's not
yeah.
us. That's not us. Cut it out.
Yeah.
And it involved a few private conversations with this individual as well to go, yeah, no, that's not where we come from. And so we would, and I think it's made possible now because of COVID and we've have this interrupted history. But the way we dealt with that was that we would refer to our history. That if I was talking to an up and coming super heavyweight about how you should conduct yourself, I'm going to talk to them about what I saw Brad Gillingham do. Or I'm going to talk to him in this country about Ray Rigby or Lee Wisby or Adam Pinkard or Stephen Pritchard. I'm going, we're going to call back on history and go, this is how our champions conduct themselves. This
Yeah.
is how you should be behaving in public. This is how you behave at a meet. When you win, this is what we kind of expect from you as a winner. And I think we disconnected from that, and it's been replaced with the blustering, bravado, and self promotion.
Yeah.
Because if I said to a young lifter now, I said, like I do it from time to time, I'll say, do you know who this person is? They could never heard.
No.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
going okay.
Yeah.
And so you could read a list of the Hall of Fame sometimes, and people go, never heard of them. Who are they?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
think like it's always like because we're like I suppose we're in like an age of like hyper individualism now. as
Oh, so
well. And
true.
like
Yeah.
culturally, like my generation's very different to yours.
Mm. Oh, very much so. Um, so yeah, I like I like the promotion. I just don't like self promotion, or the ones that say, people that phrase it as if no one else could have done it, or you could only ever do it the way they did it. I've gone,
Yep.
nah, I'm not
Yep.
buying that.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's my frustration with coaching at the moment, is this idea that there's one way.
Or that there's multiple ways, but mine's the best way. And if you're not doing my way, then
Oh,
you're falling
yeah.
short.
Just
Yeah.
going, there's a million ways. They all work, or they don't. But and I'm always struck by the amount of champions that have been champions for like 10, 12, 15 years, and you see the way they train, and you go, yeah, man, you train wrong. Like
Yes, your history is telling
right.
you that you're doing this completely wrong. You've won not enough championships yet to have your method validated.
I've had so many, and it tends to be around bench pressing in this country. I've had a lot of heated debate with younger coaches about what you can and can't do bench pressing, and they'll be really adamant and go, "You can't do this. This is not possible." Blah blah blah, and then I'll just reel off about 5 or 6 names. I go, "Well, that's what they did. They're doing it,
Yeah,
and these are the
yeah.
results."
No, but you have to find the golden microcycle
Right?
for the bench press.
Oh, yeah, no, it's rubbish.
Golden.
Golden.
Your bench must show up on a Saturday.
Oh, yeah. I think it's mostly because it's so formalized now
Yeah.
that from where I've come from, I find it quite frustrating, because that whole individual expression is getting lost, even though we're all about rugged individualism and hyper individualism, as long as we all do it the same.
There's an irony to that, isn't there?
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
And so you need to be the best at doing everything like everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you just don't address it. You're doing it like everybody else.
Right. Just
I think the good,
act
you
like you're
go.
not wearing the same clothes as everyone else.
That's this whole idea of like, and I've had so many arguments with people about this online about like how, um, particularly about Crocs and about how Crocs are a way to express your individualism because of the little gibbets that you can put on it to show what you're interested in. And
Oh,
how somehow wearing Crocs is a form of like self-expression. And I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's
um,
not. You just look like every other idiot who's wearing Crocs with gibbets in it.
right. I don't put the gibbets in my Crocs, but I've started wearing Crocs when Crocs were stupid and Crocs were a bit of a joke, because Crocs are so, in the Northwest, Crocs are so practical and functional. Like, you can
They
wear them
are. They
everywhere.
actually
The
are.
water drains out of them. You can walk into the water with them, because things like stonefish and things that bite you are a bit of a problem up there. So you want footwear.
Yeah. Yeah,
They were
that's
just
very
awesome.
practical. I like that.
And me and my buddy Sam, we got so much grief about wearing Crocs for years. And we're like, I don't care, comfy, comfy.
But now it's cool.
And now
Now
it's
it's
cool.
cool.
And
Yeah.
so so when they started being cool, I think I must have been about 45. So it's always really fun for a 45-year-old man to be cool again. Just going, yeah,
They used
never
to get
stop.
sold at Rivers, didn't they? You know the
Yep,
shop Rivers?
yep.
They were sold as boat shoes, right?
Yeah, that's where I bought them from.
Yeah, I had Crocs when I was maybe like 8 years old,
Yep.
and that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, they
So,
originally, I think they were made for a movie called
Idiocracy.
Idiocracy. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yep. I think that's
It
really
was a bit of a
funny.
joke, yeah. But
Yeah,
you know, comfy is comfy.
that's true. I have tried them on, and it just was unfortunate that they're not very comfortable for me. But I just have like a very particular set of requirements for shoes. And they just didn't meet my requirements. Like I did want them to be comfortable. I did want to be proven wrong. Like I do like the idea of like collectiveness. Like I said before, like if you got a pair of Crocs on, you see somebody else with a pair of Crocs on, you're
You're
like,
like,
all right.
"Ah."
But for me, they're just not comfortable, and like I don't find them particularly attractive, and I do see that there is something somewhat childish about wearing
Absolutely.
Crocs.
Yes.
And that to me, it kind of comes across as trying to disregard adulthood and trying to hold on to a sense of innocence, which I think that that's a little bit sad that we're trying to replace this sort of sense of happiness that we get with our childhood by buying a pair of shoes that remind us of when we were a kid. That's the way that I see it. But
Yeah,
whenever I
right.
try to explain it to people, people are like, "You're hating."
You hate children.
No. Yeah. No, I'm just like that's trying like gain back that sort of connectedness and childhood innocence without being childish. You know,
Right.
that's actually communicate with one another and I don't
So
think a pair of shoes is not gonna fill that void. Same with those new little toys that are what are those little toys that are on the market at the moment? They're called like recession markers. No,
no, I
people will
haven't
be
seen
listening
those.
to this and they'll know exactly what I'm talking about and
Hmm.
they'll be screaming at their phones. But there's these new little dolls that have come out that people are like hanging on their bags and stuff, and they're toys.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And to me, it just seems like, you know, really trying to grasp onto something that you've let go of.
See, for me, Crocs are really on brand for, especially for a super heavyweight. I'll show you these are my podcasting shoes. I'm about to show you.
I thought you were gonna whip up your foot.
All right.
I'm like, oh my God, he's really mobile for a super heavyweight.
Um, so yeah,
Uh,
for at a certain body weight and a certain lack of mobility that comes about from benching and squatting too heavy too often, slip-on shoes are a must. You
Absolutely.
can't have,
Functional.
and so Crocs become super functional because they're technically it's a closed-in toe. If you put
Yes.
the strap on, it's an enclosed shoe. You know, you can get away with a lot.
Sports mode. Yeah,
Uh,
my brother's a
I
vet and he wears them in his practice
Yeah,
because he can just hose them off
yep,
once he's sort of finished and it's just really, really easy and hygienic.
yeah. So there was nothing childlike or childish for me wearing Crocs. It was, do I have to
And
bend
now
over?
I've just
Do I
lumped you
do I
into
have to
the
do I have to
collective.
bend? Mine was, do I have to bend over to put these on? No, okay. I quite like them.
Tick.
So, so I use barefoot or slides, and then Crocs just seem to be so awesome as a hybrid. I actually got in. Who was it? Bill Helm. Have you ever heard of Bill Helmick?
No.
I want to pay tribute to Bill Helmick real quick. He passed away a couple of months ago. He was as long as I've been in powerlifting, Bill's been around and been this amazing, great figure in the US. He's from Albuquerque, New Mexico, multiple world records all the way through into his 70s. Just a hell of a guy. And so a lot of my fondest memories Bill was around for and features in them. Um, 2015 up in Sweden where I benched 340. Actually, right before I walked out for benching 340, Bill was the TC that day, and he's sort of blocking my entrance. And tall man, shaved head, clean shaven, and just a wonderful smile. And he looks at me, he looks me up and down, checks the wrist wraps out, sees that I'm not wearing socks and that my shoes are undone. And because I used to leave them unlaced so I could just treat them like slides, and these were squat shoes. And he just looks down, and I remember him looking up, and he just grins from ear to ear and goes, "Nothing in the rules about doing them up." I'm like, "Thanks, Bill. Thanks, because we could have had
Yeah,
an
I
issue
suppose,
there."
yeah, there's a lot that's sort of like, it's like, I suppose assumed to be common sense, but if you don't exactly stipulate, like,
I'm not doing these up. There's actually a little bit of a. I'm gonna because I'm not competing anytime soon. You can lift your heels slightly when you do that. So you wear,
oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So you've already got a heel in the shoe, and if you
yeah,
leave the shoe loose, your
yeah,
heels can come up a little bit, and no one's any the wiser. Not a
yeah,
lot,
yeah, that's
but
true.
it's helpful.
See, because I don't, I would bench very differently to you. Like, I'm
Mm.
very like narrow foot, feet forward, slide back, lots of like feet across the floor, not like toes down into the. Yeah, so I just don't even feel like that would be a problem for me. But like, hello, if you're out there and you need to lift your heels off, Nathan's got a trick for
Hmm.
you.
So I got that from Chris Seville, who's a physiotherapist. He was a physio for the Collingwood Football Club.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
heard of Chris.
yeah, good lifter. Melbourne University Powerlifting Club is where he lifted.
Yeah.
Great bloke. But he used to do that. He would rock up in, and so I would watch him really closely because he would rock up in skate shoes for benching. So like the old Etnies or something like that, or Vans, where
Yeah.
they're big and thick and pillowy, and you could tell that he's lifting his heel and saying, "Oh, dude, I know what you're doing. I know exactly
Yeah,
what you're
my
doing."
foot is still in my shoe. Don't know what you're talking
He's
about.
gone,
The heel
"What?"
of the shoe is on the ground.
She's gone, "Are they a size too big or what?" And goes, "Not saying." I'm like, "Hey, whatever, man." But yeah, so now, referees out there, look at people's shoes. If they're not doing their shoes up, they're
No, we've
cheating.
got too many things to look at now. You're gonna look at feet, you're gonna look at the butt, you're gonna look at the head, you're gonna look at the hands on the bar, you're gonna look at the elbow depth,
See, it's
and you've
just
got like
you got to do it. You got to do refereeing is like that dude from the castle when he's describing Marbo. It's just it's just the vibe of the thing. It's just the
yeah, the
vibe.
vibe of it.
The vibe was a white. You just want. Have you ever watched a lifter walk out and you just gone? They're giving me red vibes right from the get go. I shouldn't say that out loud. Hopefully, not too many people listen to that. But there are definite. I think over my years refereeing now, um, there's definite red vibes when I see people walking out. Just going, they got no
I
chance of
suppose you
making
would you
this.
would have a you would have some pattern
Yeah,
recognition for sure.
yeah, there is.
Maybe it's some kind of prejudice, who knows?
It
You'd have
could
to
be.
test how accurate that sort of radar is.
Mm. Oh wow, you're wearing the new purple SBD. You're giving red light vibes.
I don't like your consumerism, red.
Hmm. I do not like that your shoes don't match your necklace. Red.
Oh, you have to be matchy matchy. That
Oh
really does
yeah.
frustrate me. Like
Oh,
if
I.
you're wearing like purple and then you have like, I don't know, like some yellow
Mm-hmm.
going on and then some like green, but then you've also chucked in some blue wrist wraps, go home.
Yeah. No,
Stop
you're
that.
all over the place. You gotta
Yep,
you gotta make it line up.
yep, yep.
One year at Worlds, it really bothered me, but you could tell how good the product was because of this. So this was World Open Worlds in November, so everyone's wearing single play. The whole Russian team, who were dominating at the time, they would turn up with Titan everything: Titan squat suit, bench suit, deadlift suit, Titan t-shirts underneath, Titan socks, Titan wrist wraps, and then you looked at their knees, and everybody is wearing APT knee wraps, and that's I think that's how the world gone. Okay, so APT knee wraps, they must be all right because it
Yep.
was they just clashed. That was the first time I saw people looking noticeably out of place
Yep.
because up until that point with especially with gear you'd take whatever you could get, so you'd see a lot of people wearing like 5 different brands on a platform because they were all donated from different people.
Oh yeah, especially like when you're competing equipped like that, that stuff's expensive.
Mm.
That is, and like it's getting to the point now with like the injection of like fashion into our sport, which I think is super interesting. It sort of really leans into that sort of creative, artistic component of our sport. But it's really, really quite dominant now that, you know, if you're gonna be on that stage, like how you look is a part of your craft now. And there's definitely a few brands that have really leaned into that.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like equipped, it's still nowhere near as expensive as equipped stuff.
Yeah, I think the equipment is starting to get prohibitively expensive. I
Yes,
hadn't seen
definitely.
the price of a bench press shirt for quite some time, and obviously, when I was lifting, I was sponsored, so the prices didn't really affect me anyway, and so I didn't know what the prices were. But looking at them now, that would put me off for
Yeah,
sure.
yep, definitely. Yeah, yep.
You ever thought about putting a bench press shirt on, giving it a go?
No, no, I haven't. I've never even like because I train out of Peninsula Barbell, which is like when I started was like typically a GPC gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at the time probably the only IPF lifter. Now it's kind of very equally distributed between like GPC, APL, and APA, IPF.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I had somebody at the gym wrap one of my knees, but they did it with the intention of like really trying to prove a point. And I was like, I couldn't move. I'm like, I can't even stand up. Get this off me. Um, so yeah, no, and I've never actually seen a bench shirt in the flesh. Can you believe that? Um, I know. Um, so I have no, like, if I came across one, I probably would be tempted to try it out, but I haven't had that opportunity.
They're fun, all right, and it's definitely a lost art,
Yes, yeah,
or a
yeah,
dying art.
yeah.
But still, yeah, I'm not 100% sure that we won't go back to single ply lifting eventually. Especially
I
when
think everything does its rounds, doesn't it?
right,
Yeah.
especially when you look at knee sleeves now, like they're extraordinary. I think you could do damage. I think you could hurt people with those knee sleeves.
Yeah, this is a sensitive topic because a lot of people are very, very adamant that the new in the sleeves don't assist performance. Um, and
Okay,
then the whole idea
so
of like them being taken out of the IPF because of the materials that they're made of, but they are made of the right materials, and whether they, after this whole situation with a lot of sleeves getting banned and
mhm.
then being reintroduced, are they going to be banned again in 2026? Is the rationale that they initially tried to use actually substantial? Are they going to be sort of poking around for something else that they could possibly use? Like, it does say in the rule book that sleeves aren't allowed to give an appreciable amount of support to the lifter's knee. And
So
funnily enough, the
then we
people
need to
who
go
are
back to
trying to
these
argue,
ones.
yeah,
Okay,
well, the people who are trying to
these
argue
are
for the fact that they should
these are
still be in
generation one,
there,
right?
are they, which ones are they?
So these are the classic blue Ray Bans.
Oh, yeah.
Um, right when the rules were originally drawn up, this is what people thought a knee sleeve was.
Yep.
So something that literally, look, and I can roll that up,
Yeah.
no problem. It's it's assistive, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you could squat 5 kilos more with it on than without it, but it's not really doing much at all. I think
No.
every knee sleeve on the market now gives something.
Everyone?
I think all the knee sleeves out there now, especially when you can compare it to that, like
Yeah. Yep.
there's not a knee sleeve out there now that can't stand up under its own weight. Um, they're kind of awesome, and they're bigger, they're longer, they're all these sort of things
Yes.
than what they used to
Yep.
be.
Yep. Yep.
I would love if we just went to knee wraps, personally,
Oh, I just couldn't do it.
or
And
or got rid of it altogether.
like just
Because
completely raw lifting. You're not even
yeah,
allowed to have a belt on.
no, wear a belt. Just the knee sleeves. I that, especially when Raw came out, what was it, around like 2011 and 12? There was a lot of back and forth about whether it should be knee wraps, knee sleeves, nothing at all.
Yep.
Um, and I was like, well, all equipment gives you something. Like, you tell me
Yeah,
that,
even if it is placebo, like it's gonna help. Like
like
just the feeling of having sleeves on your knees does make you feel better.
yeah, like if I put wrist wraps on versus wrist wraps off, I'm going to bench more with wrist wraps on. I'm
Yeah,
going to
me too.
I'm going to squat more with a belt on. So we're like,
Yep.
no, it's raw is, there's no such thing as this total raw, unless we all, yeah, no, let's not go there. Um, that doesn't need to be said. I think we're all thinking it right now. Doesn't need to be said or imagined. Too late. But this, like, that, I think the knee sleeves is classic powerlifter mentality. Is going, well, maybe I can get 5 to 10 kilos out of these if there were maximum thickness. And then you go, well, what should the maximum thickness be? And then start changing the material or getting to the edges of what's allowable with the material. And then, people start attacking each other. And I think by the time companies start attacking each other on what's legal and what's not, then we've all gone too far.
Yeah, definitely. But like I think it's very normal to want to push the boundaries of rules.
Yeah,
And I just don't
that's what
think
we
that the
do.
rule
We're
book was
powerlifters.
written with the intention to be pressed in that way. And you can kind of see that that sort of permeates throughout the entire rule book. Like there is a lot in there that's not written very well,
Yeah.
because I don't think anyone ever thought that it would need to be written like a legal document, in the way that it was
Right.
just, like airtight. So yeah, I feel like the IPF would have to come out with a new iteration of the rule book before 2026, and I think that's when we're going to see whether these
Oh
sleeves
yeah.
survive or not.
I, initially, no one thought that people would boil their knee sleeves to put them on either.
Boil their knee sleeves
Mm. So that was something
to
that got.
expand them
Yep.
and then have them shrink on their knees.
Correct. Yeah.
People are doing that.
No, people did that at the start.
Oh my God.
Um,
Just spend that time training.
right. Plastic
What are you
bags.
doing?
The use of plastic bags, all those kind of things to
Yeah,
slide them
yeah,
on. And so we
yep,
started getting, putting rules around that, which I thought was important. That if it's going to be raw, then put it on yourself.
yeah, yep.
I had a really funny interaction at Asian Championships once with the Kazakhstan head coach and one of his lifters that had used plastic bags to put on one knee wrap. One of the Kiwi lifters came up and told me what was going on. I think I was chief for that one, so I went down just to wander through and deal with it. And so we knew that he was in the next room getting his other knee sleeve on using a plastic bag. So I just waited till it was almost on. That it was, it was halfway over his kneecap before I went in there and go, pal,
Calculated.
take them off. Take them off. And so it ended up being this funny conversation of a guy that doesn't speak Russian and a guy that doesn't speak English trying to communicate. So just
Yeah.
the larger of the two gentlemen standing in front, just going niet, niet, niet. Only Russian word I knew was just, and so people were doing that a lot. But they were doing it with the old knee sleeves because they realized even with the old knee sleeves, you could get an advantage from having it tight enough.
Yeah.
So we know that these things are performance enhancing. Why don't we just stop pretending that they're not and go, you know what, they really are. And if you want to go to that extreme to get 5 to 10 kilos, go for your life.
Yeah. I think it's like there has to be a comparable baseline for it to be fair.
Yep.
But like you do see this in other sport where it's like the teams that have the most money have the advantage and they're allowed to utilize that advantage to buy the most, assistive, best equipment to be able to get their teams over the line. And should we allow that? Like if you can afford a really, really expensive pair of sleeves that are going to give you 5 XP points out in the bottom of the hole of the squat, like should you be allowed to do that just because you've got the capacity to? And like we've seen the opposite in sports as well. Like we've seen those suits, those swimming suits get taken out because all of a sudden all these swimmers were breaking these records that have been standing for a really long time. And we've seen these shoes that had that sort of carbon fiber plate in the bottom of them taken away as well. So it's like where's the line? Where do we allow athletes to do whatever they can to get the most out of human performance, and where does it become cheating? That's a really hard line to draw.
It really is. And I think one of the problems that we run into is most of the people that define what should and shouldn't happen in terms of the rules in the IPF are still older men, normally in their mid to late 50s and early 60s, that haven't lifted at the top for a really long time. And these are the people that are writing rule changes and saying this is banned, this is not banned. So possibly better representation there is what we need in order to get a stable set of rules that we're all like, yeah, no, that works. That's good for us.
Well, look, there's nothing that says in the rule book that I'm not allowed to have a jetpack on. So I'm gonna have a jetpack on next time I squat, and I'm just gonna add like maybe 50 kilos to my squat.
Just a little nitrous button that you can press when you're down in the hole. Just like
yeah. And I'll bury it deep so it looks like I just farted and we'll be fine.
We go. You're fine. It's all good. It's all good. No one's listening to this. They will never know
Yeah,
what you're doing.
It's fine. It's fine.
if a certain
But the rules
US,
don't technically stipulate that I can't do that, right? So
well, Dave Hoff tried to put knee wraps under his bench shirt, didn't he? So
there's been a few people who've tried to do like put a slingshot on underneath a bench shirt and all that kind of stuff, right?
yeah, I've heard somebody wearing a slingshot underneath a t-shirt in a raw meet.
Oh my God.
Uh, um,
Yeah.
I know of uh, I was going to say that I won't say the country. I want to out him too much. There was a great lifter of my generation who was a little bit older than me that was always there or thereabouts for the M1 and M2 world record in the squat in his weight class. And then it was discovered that he was wearing briefs underneath his singlet. So you can get squat suits that's like they cut the top half off and it's just the bottom half of the squat suit.
Yeah.
He was wearing that underneath his singlet.
Like when somebody's like,
Like
yeah.
really, really overtly bad. And his claim was, he goes, I didn't realize you weren't allowed to do it. I go, dude, really? Come on. He'd been around for
Yeah.
20 odd years. He knew. He absolutely
Yep.
knew.
Absolutely. That's like weaponized ignorance,
Yeah.
really.
It'd be
Or
like
like it's trying to facade
be like
and parade
saying,
around as ignorant.
it'd be like getting 2.5 meter knee wraps and saying, oh, but I thought these were just like knee sleeves. So, yeah, did you though? Did you really
No.
think that? Oh dear. Well, I'm just looking at the time. We've gone for 2.5 hours.
Oh my
I think
gosh.
maybe let's wind it up.
Yeah, let's do that. My
Um,
phone battery's like low.
it's gone onto that yellow setting.
Yeah. Power saving mode.
Power saving mode, indeed. I really, really appreciate the chat. That was good fun.
Yeah, that was a
That
good
was really
chat.
good.
Time flies when you're talking about good things, hey.
Not sure what we talked about, but somebody will put it in show notes. People will just have to find out.
We
Enjoy
touched
the
on
experience.
everything.
We solved a few of the bigger problems in the world.
Yeah,
So
we did.
you're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome. Brittany, I will look forward to seeing you at a powerlifting comp somewhere hopefully in this country. More than
Yeah.
likely on your side of the country this time, and hopefully
Yes,
soon.
yes. Yes, hopefully soon.
Alrighty.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. Done.